Parasocial with Don Benitez. S&M says, yo, hello S&M. If I had money, I'd donate. Well, thank you. Sophia says, I'm not that patient. Oh, I'm sorry. Dr. Scissors says, lol. Okay. Alright. Okay. Dr. Dookie says, start now. I have started. SN says, bro, I swear, if Ramon says that stupid hog this gig, I'm a flip. Ramon super chats, bro, if you can't show the hog, can you at least show the outline? Well, it looks like he did it. I guess you're flipping out right now. Thank you, Ramon. Timer extended. Fallout says, love you, Don. Thank you. I appreciate it. 1 second, please. 1 second. Pa says hi. Hello, Pa. Jessica says, play ET. I don't know what that is. Fallout says, love you, Don. Thank you. NT says, why do Y only have 7 views? Just the way it is. Rudd says, I got a degloving. I don't know what that means. AL says, good afternoon, Don. This is now my 3rd day of telling you to pronounce my name right. I don't care unless you hear that here often, like, other than just saying that. Official says, hi, Don, how are you? I'm good. Spunky super chats, bro, show the outline already. I'm not gonna do that. That's really not my style, not my way of being. I'm not a sexual person like that. Thank you, timer extended. A dude says, yo, remember me, Donnie boy? Yeah, I do. Really says, what's the hog? It's slang for the penis. Really, I already read that. Dace says, he was late because he's taking a massive dump. That's not the reason. 1 second, please. 1 second, please. Day, I already read that. Walmart says, play R6. Not right now. Doctor says, Don is late. No. NT says, why are my balls so big and can you put them in your mouth? Technically, but I don't want to. One says, how many eggplants can you eat? I don't like eggplants. I don't know. Bench says, is it purple? No comment. One says, how many I already read that. Spunky super chats, love your feathery hair, very 70s of you, peace man. Thank you. It's not out of a style though, it's more out of not caring. Timer extended. Oklahoma says chunky pubic hair. Okay, alright. Day says, lol, don't lie, we all poop. Well, I wasn't doing that just now. Sean says, do you like Sean O'Malley? I do not know who that is. Bell says 67. Alright. Levin says, why do my messages not go through on my main? Well, now I can see them. Fallout says, love you, Don. We don't need the hog. Yeah, I agree. Michael, thank you for the disco ball abomination. Cool says, is it pink? No comment. A dude says, why give me that voice? Because I just got the vibes that you deserved it. I don't know why. NT says, take me out of your fucking basement. You're not in my basement. Belly says, want to go to a Diddy party? No, I do not. Artem says, 7 watching now. Bro fell off. Yeah. Mr. Edgy says, get your crusty old teeth off the screen. No. Not says, hi, hello, not. 1 second, please. I'm doing something. Chill says, rate Jurassic Park. The first movie's good. Dr. Dookie says, your chat is freaky as hell. Yeah, that's right. 1 second, please. I am doing something. Okay, now I'm back. Clove says, do you enjoy this streams? Yeah, I do. Lay says, hi, hello, Lay. Thank you, Cool, for the preschool star. Rude says, degloving is a very severe injury where the bone is shown. Oh, that's horrible. Day says, skunk farting emoji. Okay. O says, gay. Alright. Mr. Edgy says, I like talking to you. Thank you. JR says, hello, Don. Do you prefer watermelon or watermelon? Call me says, Alfredo or spaghetti pasta. I prefer Alfredo, definitely. Spunky says, is there a length you're going for or just playing with it? I'm just careless. Big Yahoo says, bro, probably breathes air. Yeah, I do. SN says, see in, not on the screen. I don't know what you're saying. The Quackiest says, probably breathes carbon dioxide. Yeah, I exhale that. Pa says, can you listen to Cat's Eye? No, it probably sucks. Dr. Leaf says, some people like their cucumbers better pickled. I don't know what that means. Ryan says, at least show Ramon the outline. He's earned that at least. No, I don't do that for money. Ramon super chats, first Oliver Tree dies, then Argentina lost. 2026 is shaping up to be a great year. I condemn your chat message. I think it's horrible that you would say that about Oliver Tree. Zero says di or di. Okay. Di, I guess. Joe Mama says, Don, it's been 3 hours. Time for a drink. It's not been 3 hours. Porma2 says, you are so inclusive. Love the LGBT keyboard. That wasn't the idea, but I am inclusive. It says, do you like pickles? Yeah, I do. Thank you, Ramon. Timer extended. Hassan says, Ramon always pays you a lot too much. Yeah. Tucker says, do you remember me? No, I don't. Thank you, Michael Klein, for the flow state. I apologize that I didn't see that sooner. Kerr says, wow, Ramon. Yeah, I don't like that. The Daily says, remember me? No, I don't. Call Me says, blue, Gatorade, or red? I prefer blue. Big Yahoo says, the quackiest. Just copied me, imagine. Oh, that's pretty lame. 1 second, please. I'm doing something. I'm doing something important on my computer. I'll read a chat message in just a second. Okay, there we go. Chris says, I goon to Fortnite skins. Oh, that's weird. Smoothie says, you raiding today? If the stream reaches 2 hours long, this stream I'll do a raid. Joe Mama says, Don, I hope you reward Ramon on April 1st. Yes, I will. Spunky says, long hair pulls the bitches, by the way. Okay. Thank you again, Michael Klein, for the flow state. You Lil says, where are you from? I'm from the United States of America. Lil says, why didn't we see the outline yet? I'm not an OnlyFans kind of person. David says, wow, Roman, you're so disgusting about someone's death. Yeah, I agree. I condemn that. Dragon says, tough. Okay. Thank you. ST, Super Chats, you're the man. Don Benitez. Thank you. I am the man. Thanks. Timer extended. Deb says, can you please help? Help with what? Crow says, do you like raccoons? No, I don't. Ryan says, have you considered merch? Show the outline would make for a good trade idea. That sounds really corny, not my style, but yeah, I don't know. Aiden says, how are you today? I'm fine. Porma2 says, what the fuck? Ramon, who would say that about Argentina? You're mad about that part? Mr. Otter says, what do you think my favorite VR game is? Gorilla Tag, unfortunately. Day says, I'm a raccoon, you don't like me. Yeah, I don't like you. Spunky says, you about to be drowning in bitches. Okay. Clove says, everyone on the chat, make sure you eat and drink water today. Yeah, that's good advice. Darrett says, Jesus loves you, thank you. Benson says, get back to work now while I'm asking nicely. Not right now. I'm busy doing this. Deb says, please call something something. I'm not going to do that. Flower says, how old are you? I'm an adult. Call Me says, strawberries or bananas? Bananas. Really says, shut the fuck up, Mr. Otter VR. No one cares. Okay. Thank you, San, for the preschool star. Lil Brizzy says, we want that dick. You're not going to get it. Ollie says, you like the racial slur? I don't know what you're saying. Isabella says, do you believe in God? No, I don't. 5 says, have you rode the horse cock? No. Call Me says, cheesecake or cake? Cake. Ramon says, it must be hard for you to find C with enough space for the hog. I don't know what you're saying. Zero says, racial slur. Alright. Santa says, can I be so Sigma? That's for you to figure out. I can't help with that. Deb says, do you exist? Yeah, I do. Lil says, yes, we are. I forget what you're talking about. Blood says, would you slurp up my spit with your tight autistic pussy? I don't want sexual relations with you. Ollie says, you look racial slur. Okay. It's Vika says, do you know how to do fractions? A little bit. Crow says, how is your relationship with your mother? No comment. Carmen says, have you played Call of Duty World War II? Yeah. I liked the war mode. they had. Rusky, thank you for the preschool star. Fallout says, Don, have you played any Fallout games? No, well, 76 for like half an hour. Carmine says hi. Hello, Carmine. Crowley says air. Alright. Butter says coming out Christmas 2027 on YouTube and Amazon Prime. What is? Lil says that dick is what we were talking about. Okay, sorry, I forgot. Void says the Squirrelies have started a cult for lawnmowers. I haven't heard about that. Ahmed says remember me now. AZ says do you love Michael Jackson's music? Yeah, I like it. Rusky says are you here because you're gay? No. Really says Don knows all the slur tricks. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't fallen for it once. No Cat says hi. Hello, No Cat. Ice says did you see the hot bat summer skins in Fortnite? No. AG says Folk Valley or something Valley. I don't know what either of those things are. Caden says stop being mean. It's okay. Twitch says do you like men? No, I don't. Omar says hi. Hello, Omar. Rude says well my degloving injury where the bone is shown is getting affected. What do I do? I'm not the person to ask. You should you should go to the hospital. Lil says sorry but I just want that dick to be gripped by my Badusi. I'm not interested. Thank you, cool boy, for the 100. Arthur says I'm getting diddled by Epstein right now. He says hi. He's dead. No Cat says how are you doing? I'm doing fine. M4 says search up I don't know Sterling sex toy dildo. He has to do with gore and mass shootings, not sex toys. Spunky says bitches better be drowning in Dawn. Okay. The Lego says last time I asked you, you said you had dogs. How are they doing? They're doing fine. The Lego already read that. Son of Thor says Dawn is a master of emotion. I don't see that. Action says do you remember me? No, I don't. Vincent says I'm schizophrenic. Oh, alright. Blood says I'll stay a little longer to jack off to the autistic trans person. You're talking about me? Okay. Enjoy yourself. Turo says rate my profile picture. Also hi. I think it's pretty bland. ERT says what's your favorite pizza? Pepperoni, just simple. Ramon super chats what's would be your Spice Girls stage name? I don't know. I don't even know what any of the Spice Girls are called. Maybe you or someone else can come up with a name for me. No Cat says I have cancer. I am sorry. Thank you, Ramon. Timer extended. Cold Slayer says got Coke. I do not. Crowley says top 5 pizza toppings go. Pepperoni, pineapple, that's all I get. Action says I gifted you one time. I definitely would not remember that then. That's very unmemorable. Spidey, thank you for the thumbs up. Retro says, do you like birds? Yeah, I do. Thank you, the iPad, and Mr. Otter for the clutches. The Quack says, what's your opinion on the Islamic Republic of Japan? Oh, that misspeak was pretty funny. Guess says 67. Okay. Cinder says, what's your favorite soda? Coke. Graham says, I like your jacket. What brand is it? The polo shirt, I got it, I don't know what brand, but I got it from JCPenney. Astro says, run for president. No. Thank you, Diddy, for Trent, for the sun balloon thing. Thank you. I Love says, hi. Hello, I Love. And Mick says, nerdy voiced incoming. I didn't do it there. David says hi. Hello, David. Spunky says, is your profile picture a picture taken prior to every live stream? Yeah. I thought it was obvious. Ipoo says penis. Okay. Jack says, do you still play Siege? No, I don't. No Cat says, why are you squinting? I don't know, it just naturally happens. Thank you again, Diddy, for Trent, for the sunblown thing. Thank you. Diddy says, add the minute. It actually adds automatically. If you rewind, you can see the timer going up automatically. Muhammad says, water. Not right now. How To says, remember me from Epstein's Island? No, I don't. ADV says, sorry for everyone being weird. You don't deserve that. No, it's okay. RM says, what's with this weird Somalian music you're playing? I don't know. I'm just trying something different. Willie says epic voice incoming because I'm epic. No, I just did a normal voice. List says you upgraded. Okay. Spy says you wasted 3 seconds reading this. No, I didn't. Jay says hi. Hello, Jay. Finn says, I'm sorry for people are weird as fuck towards you, and I hope it doesn't affect you at all. It's fine. Mick says there's insane cleavage in one of the new Fortnite skins, even though there's children on it. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. Fortnite also has guns, though. No Cat says best YouTuber. Thank you. The iPad says Diddy Kong. Alright. Thank you, Tornado, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Cold Slayer says you just gained 3 seconds of your life reading this. I don't believe that. Thank you, Tornado, for the flow state. The Quacky says W. Thank you. Rudy says, where have you been? It's been forever. I'm not going to say. Spy says, why is your hair all over the place? Carelessness. Thank you again, Tornado, for the flow state. 1 second, please. Rem says, have you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior? No, I haven't. Ramon super chats, what's the first song that you want played at your funeral? I don't know. Not pop music. I probably want classical music. I don't know what classical music though. Speed says, what do you do on your PC? I doom scroll. E-Man says, hi, do you remember me? No, well, yeah, I do. Money says, rate my profile picture. 1. Crowley says, best season of the year, fall. S says, I don't know what to say. Well, that works. The Snore says, Frederick Chopin. Oh yeah, his piano music is good. The Quacky says, should I start traveling content? If so, which country should I go to? You should go to Myanmar. Twitch says, do you play any instruments? Because I play piano. I don't play instruments. The Gaming says, how are you doing? I'm doing fine. Shelly says, what's your favorite school subject? History. NT says, Deep Throat 69. Okay. Biblical says, the day J-Rock loses flow is the day the hair on Jimmy LaHaye's bald head. Okay. Alright. Yusuf says, why Myanmar? I don't know. I just chose a random country. Mick says, have you cracked? No comment. Yor says, I heard you were talking shit on raccoons earlier. Yeah, I was. I mean, they're annoying creatures. That guy is annoying. Weird says, can I just add, you are so pretty. Oh, thank you. E-Man says, why do you make that face? It just happens naturally. I don't know. Fallout says, thoughts on me being a mod just for fun? I think that's incredibly stupid. Joe says, water time. Not yet. Thank you, Amy, for the preschool star. Rudy says, do you hate the Islamic Department of in Mali terrorism for killing? I don't know much about it, but I just hate murder just as much as anyone else. RM says, did you know a Somalian pimp invented Fortnite? No, I didn't. Thank you, Anti, for the 6 preschool stars. Marie says, how do you read some of these comments with a straight face? You spelled straight wrong. Yusuf says, are you sleep deprived? No, I'm not. Yor says, what is the timer for? Funny. It says, hi, I subbed. Thank you. Fallout says, love you, Don. Thank you. Ice says, teach me how to be a streamer like you. I don't want to. LARP says, shut the fuck up. No. Smooth says, how do you feel about the data centers? They're inevitable. It's okay. Gooby says, are you emo? No. Beer says, why did you call me daddy last night? That wasn't me. Joe says, how are you today? I'm doing fine. Yeti says, what is a Yeti's favorite snack? A snow cone. I guess so. Gooby says, I already read that. Zeb says, how are you so nonchalant? Just personality. Sersha says, how long have you had to stream today? I've been streaming for like half an hour. Thank you, Lelies, for the preschool star. DH says, what vids on P-Hub do you watch? No comment. Spunky says, the timer is for when the raccoon gets it. Okay. Annette says, I love how you're chill when someone asks you something weird. Thank you. Cruel says, Bombaclat. Alright. Spy says, you will remember me now. No, that's not how it works. It works by you commenting a lot, not doing stupid stuff like that. Yusuf says, did you get a new keyboard? No, I didn't. YX says hi, hello. Yevik says hi, how's it going? Yusuf says, what's the point of the headphones? The microphone attached to it, and I also get to listen along to the music you guys hear. Lasagna says, hi, Don, remember me? No, I don't. Cold Slayer says, did you watch Obsession movie? No. I've already seen too many clips on the internet, so it's kind of ruined for me. Former 2 says, wait, you didn't what? Gil says, hi, hello, Gil. Crowley says, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Okay. No Cat says, do you remember me? No, I don't. Ramon super chats, what's an aspect of your personality that pushes people away? I see quotes there. Did you just copy paste that from a website like top things to ask on a date? DH says, do you lift weights? No, I don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm pretty introverted, so maybe that might be annoying. Calvin says hi. Racial slur. Okay. Spunky says all these new commenters suck. Where's TT's, Brad, and the stupid pig? Well, I saw Palmer 2 a second ago. Adrian says, how are you? I'm doing fine. Ollie says you're gay if you don't lick my cum and spit on my tip. I think that's gay. Gooby says, do you go into goth mommies? No. Palmer 2 says, excuse you. Okay. Ramon says, how are you able to find pants with enough crotch space? The ones at clothing stores work just fine. Zeb says, penises and anus. Alright. AL says, what's you're gonna do when GTA 6 comes out? My manager is just gonna call the day off. I don't care that much. Platt says, remember me? No, I don't. Jerry says, Ramon is definitely a predator. Yeah, on the surface level, yeah. Yeah, it seems like that. E-Man says, why is your teeth yellow? From not properly caring for my teeth. Jay says, you're just a chill guy, thank you. Peanut says, are you coming into my birthday? Ejaculating? No. Flip says, do you like relish? No. Man says, is the background for fun? Yeah. Oz says, Alu Akbar. Okay. Yeti says, how did the Yeti feel when he got the flu? Abominable. Okay. Dylan says, fuck, alright. Noxie says, people are so rude to you. It's okay. Dylan says, fuck, okay. Yusuf says, are you an atheist? I'm an agnostic. I'm LARP says, bro, shut the fuck up. No. 3D says, am you gay boy? Am I gay? No. Already read that. Flip says, do you shoot blanks or tanks? No comment. Chaco says, you sound cool. Thank you. Sub says, Nazi salute. Sieg Heil. I condemn that. Bay says, fuck. Okay. PS5 says, do you support ICE? No comment. E-Man says, cut your hair. I'll do that eventually. Well, I want to look more professional. I'll style it at least. Thank you, Ryan, for the preschool star. Corin says, what's your body count? No comment. Smooth says, why are people so mean to you? I don't know. RDO says, Jesus loves you, thank you. And thank you, Ryan, for the second preschool star. Chaz says, are we rating someone? If this stream reaches 2 hours long, we'll do that. Yusuf says, what's the other mouse for? My laptop. Oxy says 0. Okay. Ale says, I would never be able to handle these kinds of comments. Your resilience is shocking. Okay, thank you. 1 second, please. Derry says hello. Hello, Derry. And thank you, Kinetic Energy, for the flow state. Kinetic Energy, thank you. Jay says, who are you gonna watch the new Spider-Man movie with? I'm not gonna watch that movie. Yor says, I'm not mean to you, I just like to annoy you, that's it. That's fair, yeah. Amen says, fuck, okay. Yoshi says, SML movie The Secret Door, alright. Thank you, Chaco, for the feces, and Soulbro for the flow state. Spy says, it did work though, Spy. I forget what you're talking about. Smoothie says, you should go bald. No, I shouldn't. Jorge says, what's the thing in the background? It's a fractal. It's in the description. Thank you, Whoa, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Sun says, a spunky goober still has beef. with me. I'll bring the barbecue. Okay. Me says, why when you smash a guy, you're called gay, but when you cook something, you're not called a chef? Okay, I don't know. Kinetic says, how much does gift add? It's in the pinned comment. Dran says, hey, what song do you vibe to? I like the song, I don't know, I haven't been listening to music. Soul says, you like Mexicans? I do. Your boy says, do you remember me? Yeah, you're the Metallica person. Dawn says, am I pissing you off with this profile? No. I think it's pretty cool. Excuse me, I apologize. Jerry says, are you doing this for the love of the game, or is this your job? I do this for money. Dottie says, I hate all of you for real. I know. Leslie says, do you remember me? No. Lasagna says, Don, you look cool with long hair, thank you. Casey says, who were you supporting in the World Cup final? Spain. Evan says, how many strokes does it take to you to come? No comment. Lasagna says, tuberculosis? No, that's not a thing anymore. 2L says, do you remember me? No. RV says, do you watch anime? No. H says, poo, poo, poo. Alright. JG says, what do you need money for? Just what other people need money for, everything. Steel says, do you like train? I think they're useful. Sirius says, how do you feel about Derek J? I don't know who that is. Dottie says, shut up, you stupid pig. No. Steel says, do you like trains? Sorry, I'm just distracted. I already read that, man. Your boy says, don't apologize for coughing, Donnie. No, I will. Harry says sex. Okay. Cow says, hi boss. Hello, Cow. Spunky super chats, take my money. Tell Thor he's not worth my time. It looks like he is worth your time because he said that. And he gave me money to say that. To have that on the screen. Timer extended. Joe says, hi Donnie boy. Hello, Joe. Chicken says, do you remember me? No, I don't. JG says, Ayo, what do you mean, sec, Ayo? I don't understand. EF says, are you like Charlie Kirk? I don't know what you mean. Knight says, do you stroke black guy's dick? No, I don't. Soul says, are you lying? Do you like Mexicans? I'm not lying. I do like Mexicans. Thank you, True Man, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. The official says, what do you do in your free time? I scroll the internet. Jerry says, do you like Magic the Gathering? It looks pretty boring. Spunky super chats, Dawn, you ruined it. Oh. I ruined it? Oh, well, I'm sorry. Timer extended. Vanilla says, I'm looking at the back and I'm abstracting. I'm sorry. Chicken says, I'm the guy that wants to kill himself. I hope you don't do that. Gamer says, have you played Super Mario Bros. On the Wii? Yeah. JG says, what you mean by sex? That girl is weird. Okay, I don't know. Lasagna says, voice crack, okay. Yeti says, I just got a cat named Bella Trix. Okay. Frost says, you lick girl's pussy? No comment. Cater says, do you like penises in your mouth? No, I don't. Yeti says, I just already read that. Team says, are you Chinese? No. Jason says, do you watch UFC? No, I don't. Pack says, if you punch yourself as hard as you can and it hurts, are you weak or strong? Huh? That's a funny question. Your boy says, do you plan to watch the new Avengers Doomsday movie? No, I don't. Brema says, chicken is not him, bro. Alright. Casey says, do you think the World Cup is rigged? No. Epic says, do you like my profile picture? I don't like the style. McCoy says, is Dominic a good boy? I don't know who that person is, dude. Sun says, Spunky Goober bit the hook. Line and sinker. W me. Okay. Ale says, I love it when you do the nerd voice. Thank you. Your boy says, is there an upcoming movie you plan to watch? Well, I'm somewhat interested in Odyssey. M says, yo. Hello. M. 1 second, please. Lasagna says, cats or dogs? I prefer dogs. Witch says, do you like football? No. Andre says, goon. No, I'm not doing that. E7 says, I just ordered an e-bike. Cool. Geneva says, do you like anime? No, I don't. Ethan says, are you gay? No. Cheesy says, can you shout my friend? What are you trying to say? Just say it plainly. I don't know what you're trying to say. Rowan says, I'm about to come. Alright. Peach says, are you being held captive? I am, not. Joe says, water time. Remind me in 5 minutes. Ramon super chats, he's not licking any snatch. It's unhygienic to him. Plus, he doesn't like the odor. No comment. Peanut says yes. Oh, okay. Alright. GD says hi. Hello, GD. Detroit says, whoa, you like men? No. Loud says, what do you think about my username? Loud 808 sex toy dildo. That's kind of boring. Toph says, Waba's Baza ball right. Alright. BF says, rate the profile picture. 5. Willow says, what video games do you like? I was playing the Odyssey, Assassin's Creed, but I got bored. Spunky Gunner super chats, can I get a shout out for Thor's All Men's Club? No, but timer extended. Nestor says hi. Hello, Nestor. The official says, do you hate when someone donates but says hate comments? No, I don't mind. Peanut says Roblox porn or Geometry Dash porn. I kind of want to see the Geometry Dash one. Not really, but that sounds weird. Edit says hi. Hello, Edits. Crit says, keep up the passion for the money. Support from my side. That's a pretty lame way to support this. You like the money aspect? Edit says hi. Hello, Edits. Malo says, nerd voice is scaring me. Oh, I'm sorry. Superhero says, you play Fortnite? No, I don't. Well, sometimes. BF says, show some emotion. This is as much as you're gonna get. Dottie says, these dudes are all gay and weird. Okay. It's Mean says, do you remember me? No, I don't. She Love says, rate my username. She Love the Goat. I don't like it. Fishy says, if you were a fish, I would hook you. Okay. Your boy says, what's that little remote on the table for? It's for a fan. It's not in the frame, though. It's somewhere else. Spunky says, Geometry Dash porn equals triangles and squares rubbing on each other. Yeah, I guess so. Andre says, yo, quiet the music. Oh, it's too loud? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe that's better. Sorry if that was annoying. Thank you, Nay, for the 100. Marlon says, Messi or Ronaldo? Messi. Willow says, Coke or Pepsi? Coke. Narwhal says, I have large poops. Okay. Xavier says, can I goon to your wet boogers? No, that's really gross. Rema says, you're not safe, bro. There's a gooner coming to your house. You're just bluffing. Thank you, Truman, for the artificial flower. Doy says, what's your bra size? I don't wear bras. Navy says, do you go on Tim Cheese? I have no relation with him. Famously says, what is 1 trillion to the 10th power? I don't know. E7 says, hello, how's your day going? It's going fine. CR says, Celtic or Rangers? The Rangers. Cater says, do you want to stroke my dick? No, I don't. Don says, you won't see my other channel here anymore. I'll just not do my job of being an impersonator. I don't know what you're saying. Rita says, you play Fortnite? Every few weeks. It's Mean says, what the fuck is happening? I don't know. Famously says, the answer is 1 times 10 times 120. Okay, that's simpler than I thought. Danger says, hey, do you remember me? No, I don't. Arlick says, waffles or pancakes? Waffles. Not says, I recommend see an eye doctor. Why do you say that? Thank you, Navy, for the preschool star. Dylan says, hi. Hello, Dylan. Detroit says, you like men? No, I don't. Loud says, what do you think about my profile picture? That's cute, I guess. Navy says, do you goon Tim Cheese? No, I don't. Yusuf says, rate the profile picture. 0.1. Calvin says, do you smoke? No, I don't. Roxanne says, don't end stream. Well, if the timer ends, I will. Coffee says, Don, I want you to notice me, and I hope you remember me. I do. Dylan says, gay. Okay. Lasagna says, hey, Something, something, something. No comment. Evan says FNAF porn or monster porn. I don't know, man. Not says your eyes look exhausted. Oh, that's pretty vague and stupid. Kinetic says, what is your favorite game? Minecraft. Percy says, if pregnant lady gets smashed, does the baby get pregnant? No comment. Ale says, how about you rate my username? Ale does F1. I don't like the underscore. Coffee says, Don, hydrate. Okay. 1 second, please, as I take a drink of water. Okay. PQ says, can I take your shirt off? No, you can't. Navy says, do you love children in a pedophilic way? No, I don't. Araki says, Dawn, don't forget to smile, alright? Maybe I will. And that's okay. Sun says, do you like my cat picture? Yeah, that's cute. Fat. Lasagna says, was the water good? It was okay. Wisteria says, rate my profile picture. It's a little too colorful. Jim says, Yaba. Okay. Pormer2 says, wow, you're getting good at that. I don't know what you're talking about. Ethan says, my dog humped me. Okay. Dottie says, my head. I'm sorry your head hurts. Gabriel says, Messi or Ronaldo. Messi. PQ says, how did he get so cute? Genetics. Spunky says, hang up the phone, damn it. I'm not on any calls with anyone. Major says, do you like men? No, I don't. Wisteria says, rating your profile picture 3 out of 10, kind of cringe. Okay. Xavier says, can I smell your dirty underwear? No. Your boy says, what's your favorite drink besides water? I like Coke. Darvin says, clap thrice. What's the point of that? Coffee says, Dawn, I like your hair, thank you. Jap says, are you ginger? I am not ginger, and I condemn your username. E7 says, do you want head? No comment. Famously says, what is better, anime porn or in real life porn? Well, I don't know. Probably not the former, probably. Sun says, PayPal me my 25% cut for every dono I get. Spunky Goober to trigger send. I'm not doing that. Ale says, you happy, Don? I removed the underscore, picky boy. Yeah, I like it now. Compared to the last one. Template says, are you racist? No. Ark says, how does water taste like? Nothing. The Goat says, where are the raids? You don't... You're dumb. You don't know what you're saying. Ethan says, I hump my car. Okay. Willow says, do you like Halo? I haven't played it that much. Maxboy says, hi, I'm new. Hello. Jamie says, do you scrunch or fold? No comment. It's Arden says, do you like books? I do, yeah. I just finished a book today. Blixie says, smile for 2 seconds. I don't want to. Andre says, hi, I'm Jew. Okay. The Official says, how much monitors do you have? I have 2 computer monitors right in front of me. Southern says, Jesus loves you. Thank you. Your boy says, do you have a favorite brand of water? No, I don't. Small says, I've sent 74.3 comments. 0.3, how does that work? Smiley says, you like it up the bum? No, I don't. BL says, what's with the background? It's to look pretty, it's to look cool. Maxboy says, should I send a laughing disco? No. Jim says, Jesus is king. Thank you. Levi says, do you hate black people? I do. No, I don't. And I condemn your chat message. Malo says, TV is off. No, it isn't. It's Y says, Israel or Palestine? No comment. Thank you, Dev, for the preschool star. Malo says, TV is... No, it's not. Maxboy sent a laughing disco. Thank you, Maxboy. You sent one anyways, even though I said no. Thanks. It's Arden says, what book you finished? I finished The Odyssey. It's a Stanley Kubrick biography. Spunky Super Chats, hey Don, here's Thor's 25%. Can't even type numbers right. Okay, I'm not giving Thor any money. Spunky Super Chats, you keep it though. I'll do that. It's Yuggy, this is rate my profile picture. Absolutely terrible. Creative Edit Super Chats, hey. Do you ever take breaks from doing chores when your parents told you to do chores, or just stream like this? If you're a young person, you probably shouldn't be here. But when I did chores back in, thank you Virtue for the Uncle Alert. Take breaks. Well, if I was exhausted, yeah, I would take a break. Sun says, how much does your setup cost? More than $1,000. Thank you, Creative. Timer extended, and timer extended. Timer extended. There we go. Noah says, Michael Jordan or LeBron James. LeBron. Detroit says, you like my profile picture? No, I don't. Ziggy says, take your headset off for 7.3 seconds. I don't care to do that. Thank you, Virtue, for the party hat. The Real says, hey. Hello, Real. The Sir says, like my profile picture? No, I don't. Sir Waffles sent high five. Thank you, Sir Waffles. Malo says LeBron is Unk. Alright. Devs sent to 100. Thank you. Ramon super chats, tell us more about the shooting you in. Well, I remember I was in the mall and I saw a bunch of teenagers running. I thought they were just being like teenagers, rambunctious, but then I heard loud bangs, and that's when I realized that I gotta run. Thank you, Jungle, for the mic drop. Peanut says, would you rather crack a Jew or an Indian? No comment. The Sir says, my profile picture's goated. I wish it was more original, though. That's my critique. The Real says, please say hey back. Hey, The Real. What's up? And thank you again, Jungles, for the mic drop. I appreciate it. Jungles Dragons with the, like a tiger. I don't know what that is. Looks. Yusuf says, have you ever liked someone's profile picture? Yeah. Famously says, rate my profile picture. It looks like AI, so it looks pretty bad. Loud says, cut your aw hair eventually. Max says, wait, you weren't a shooting? Yeah, but nobody died, so that's good. Thank you, Virtue, for the Disco Ball Abomination. It's Arden says, do you read Flossie books? I've read... The only complete philosophy book that I've ever read is Wisdom of Life by Schopenhauer. Random says, you remember me? I remember your profile picture. Peanut says, is it a good idea to go to the swamp with a lot of gator baits? No, it's not. Teto says, are you gay? No. Just says, am I a yes or no? The same question goes for you. You are a yes, I'm a yes. Catter says, if you don't want to stroke my dick, can I stroke your dick? No, no, no. Thank you, Socks, for the makeup brushes. I appreciate it. Madison says, what kind of games do you play? I play nothing right now. Malo says, do you like my profile picture? No, I don't. Ark says, what should I do with my summer? You should go to San Francisco. Malo says, sent fake ice cream. Okay. Elite says, do you like my profile picture? Oh, that's pretty interesting. Skyline. Y says, what's the meaning to life? To survive and reproduce. RB says, you look like the parasocial guy. Okay. Tedo says, what was your favorite childhood cartoon? Avatar: The Last Airbender. Ariel says, Dawn, happy Monday. Eat anything good today? I ate a egg burrito, and it was excellent. Thank you, Virtue, for the 6-7 abomination. It's Mess says, you like my profile picture? No, it's pretty bad. Random says, if you read this out loud, you have to pin this. No chickening out. No, that is so incredibly stupid and lame. I'm not doing that. Zephyrim says, are you skibbity? No. Crit says, do you have a niche? By the way, sorry for the cringe comment. Wow, you're very insecure. Anyways, do I have a niche? I don't know what you mean by that. Gojo says, rate my profile picture. 1. Virtue says, are you straight? Yes. Adventure says, I want to die. I'm sorry. Panter says, how are you doing in life? I think I'm doing fine. Zephram, dude, I already read that. Someone says, are you thirsty? No. Mock says, is this profile picture better? I already forgot what the original one was, but it's not a bad profile picture. Carnival says Spain won. Yeah, I know. Jake says, who's the best anime character? That would be No Face. When he's eating people though, not other times. Gianni says, what is the weirdest dream I've ever had? I don't know you, dude. Peanut says, are Indians attractive? Everyone is. Moku says, finally. Okay. Y says, why are you why are you like this? Wake up. I'm awake. M4 says, written profile picture. 1. Max Boy says, wait, you kinda look like Dr. Donut. Oh, that sucks. Someone says PlayStation or Xbox. PlayStation. Your boy says, oh, Don, am I attractive? Ugh, I don't like that question. Joe says, hey, I'm kind of struggling. Can you tell me something happy? Search up cute cats into Google. Max Boy says, can you listen to? I don't know what you're saying. Starzy says, drink water. No. Abami says, are you into anything spiritual? I am, not. Maisie says, hi. Hello, Maisie. Swift says, this guy is brutally honest. I like it. Thank you. It's Arden says, are you going to watch the Odyssey movie since you read the book? I have not. No, I haven't read the book. I'll be right back. I'm going to do something. 1 second, please. I'm back. And thank you, person, for the stupid drinking water turtle. I don't know why you sent that when I was gone. That was kind of weird. Thank you. And thank you, Space and Testified. Catter says, if I can't stroke your dick and you can't stroke my dick, can I put my dick up your ass? I don't want any sexual relations. Cyber says, did you wipe? No comment. Spunky says, my profile picture is better than yours. More true to life. Yeah, I think that has the essence more, yeah. Kinetic says, not gonna lie, his chair looks worn down. Yeah, it actually broke kind of today. Ramon super chats, why did you cover the hog when you stood up? It didn't work. It looks like a tennis ball cannon front. No comment, but timer extended. Jay says, rate my profile picture. Terrible. Crit says, nice chair, by the way. Why do you hate every compliment I'm trying to give? No, I don't hate it. Peanut says, what were you gooning to? No comment. Spunky super chats, new chair fund. Thank you. I can afford one, but I mean, it still works. It's like kind of. I'm worried it's gonna collapse soon, but I think I'll ride it until the wheels fall off. Cosmo says, are you a femboy? I am not a femboy. Little says sourdough or sex toy dildo. The former. Thank you, Spunky. Timer extended. Domain says pizza or pineapple. Pizza. Random says blank. Okay. Fishy says fishy. Alright. Creative super chats. Why are we sending the 6-7 gifts? Are y'all crazy? I don't know why you're so freaked out. Shouldn't you be more freaked out by, like, can I put your dick in your ass comments? Thank you, Creative. Timer extended. Thank you, Joel, for the crazy gift. Thank you. Wow, that's so crazy. Dude, do you see this? Joe is crazy. Roblox says hi. Hello, Roblox. Zay says okay. Creative says I donated. Yeah, thank you. I saw. Thank you. Josh says W Dom. Thank you. Regin says reading gay shit is gay. Yeah, I guess. JK says hi, my bro. How was the toilet? No comment. Spunky says $10 for the return of the black thing. I don't know. The black thing's kind of boring. M4 says some people are so weird. Yeah. AL says, yo Don, I gotta go. Hopefully you'll still be live when I get back. Okay, see ya, AL. Ramon says, hopefully you've formed an LLC by now, and you have a separate business bank account to track your income and expenses. Buy a new chair. I have a DBA. Will that, like, work? Karn says, are you happy Spain won? I am indifferent. Spunky says, the black thing was peak Benitez. Honestly, no, it wasn't. Cyber says, is that your dad? No. KC says, what's your favorite video game? Minecraft. Peanut says, you know what sounding is? No, I don't. Crit says, will we ever get a room tour? Probably not. Little says, folk something. I don't know what you're trying to say. Just say it plainly. Arthur says the favoritism is crazy. Okay. Thank you, Roblox, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Leo says sup. Hello, Leo. Plane says, what is your favorite block in Minecraft? The stripped logs. Tag says, you're a grown-ass man and that's your favorite game? Yeah, it is. I don't like video games that much. I like the creative aspect of Minecraft. Garden says, well, sent an eagle. Thank you, Guardian. Aiden says hi. Hello, Aiden. Dave M says haircut fund $40. That's not a thing. Thank you a lot, Guardian, with that weird red profile picture. Thank you for the eagle. JK says, I watched Young Washington. It was good, but they made him look like a 18th century femboy. Oh yeah, I can see that. That's interesting. Hell says Minecraft is cool. Yeah, it is. Lasagna says cool red shirt. Thank you. And thank you, Teg, for the flow state. Teg 9,999. Spunky says, are you a twin and your twin just swapped out? No. Your boy says, what is a black thing? I can tell you it's nothing vulgar. Y says, what's the scariest fact you know? 6 million people died in the Holocaust. Love says, it's 4 a.m. for me. What time is it for you now? I'm not going to say, but it's in the PM. Toro says, how do I add minutes? Figure it out. Jamie says, Don sold me drugs. That's not true. Teg says, what is a B thing crime? It's something innocuous. Thank you, Kerr, for the eagle. I appreciate it. Wait, no. That's fake. You did not send an eagle. Guardian did. This is real. But Kerr's, yours is not. Isla says, why are you so rude to people? I don't know. Crits says, will we ever get a smile? Yeah. Thank you, Rift, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Musa says, stars get no love from Don. He used to be so humble. They do sometimes. Just says, do you get live every week? Every other day. Panther, thank you for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. KS says, can you say the N-word for a $100 donation? No. Goat says, TP Don's water, Don's mouth. Okay, fine. 1 second, please. And thank you, Teg, for the high five thing. 1 second. By the way, I really want to make a Minecraft server. Lasagna says your name is now Carter. No, it's not. Thank you again, Teg, for the high five. Danger says crying emoji. Okay. Ramon super chats. DBA isn't good enough. You'll have to file using the Schedule C on the 1040. Get incorporated and file an 1120S business tax return. This way, you avoid the self-employment taxes of 15.3%. Okay. Alright. Okay. So the business taxes are a lower percent. Nikki says hi. Hello, Nikki. Thank you, Ramon. Timer extended. Rick says you're so cute. Thank you. Cater says TP Don's mouth to my dick. I'm not doing that. M4 says, is it 8 p.m. or 9 p.m.? No comment. Just says timer extended. No, it's not. Thank you, Ramon, for the advice. I think I'll look into that after the stream. Jake says, rate my profile picture. 1. JK says, watching a Korean food channel. They make pizzas with octopus. Oh, that's strange. Spunky says, Black Thing is dead, and noobs will never know. It'll come back eventually. Thank you, Panther, for the GG. Danger says, for some reason my card keeps declining. Oh, that sucks. Musa says, alright, I gotta go now. See ya, Musa. Panther says, do you like chess? No, I don't. Peanut says, do you like getting Dutch ovened? I don't know what that means. Kerr says, you didn't fall for it, but now people are copying me. Yeah. Well, to be fair, though, people have been doing it since the beginning of the stream. Traffic says, rate my profile picture. 1. Kinetic says, let me into Minecraft server. Yeah, it'll be public when I make it. Adoom says, how do you send gifts? I think it's in the bottom of the screen somewhere. Meyer says, he looks so pleased about the gay comments. Oh, that's a strange way to interpret it. Hudson says, why is your hairline so bad? It's not bad, it's just the angle. Alter says, were you on the island? No, I wasn't. Spunky says, how much money to end stream instantly? 1,000 American dollars. Hudson says, why? I already read that. Alistair says, rip my profile picture. 1. JK says, Korean pizza in my profile picture. Okay. Alright. That's okay. Tronic says, what are you struggling with to make the Minecraft server? It's not the technical side, it's just ideas. You know. Crit says, okay, then smile. No, that's not how it works. Creo says, hi. Hello, Creo. Kerr says, aw, I thought I was special. Well, you're the only one to actually trick me. Little says, there's homosexual pornography in my profile picture. No, it's just a troll face. Rickon says, your hairline is stronger than a skyscraper. Okay, thank you. Willow says, hello, Hinsberg, how much for a bag of that blue? I'm not Walter White. Dave M says, how many farts do you rip per stream? None. Thank you, Sophia, for the preschool star. Spy says, what would you do if Mr. Beast donated to your stream? I might freak out. Yeah, if there's a possibility I'd freak out. Star says, opinion on Travis Scott. I haven't listened to his music. The Easy says, great teeth. Well, in terms of their, like, formation, it's good. Dr. Scissor says, have you ever eaten yourself? No, I haven't. Thank you, Astro. Cool. And Max for the preschool stars. Isa says, what you doing? I'm reading chat messages. JK says, who's Mr. Beast? You know who he is. He's the most popular person. The first captain says, I'm late. Hi, Don. Hello, the first captain. Your boy says, Don, explain what the black thing is. No. B says, hi. Hello, B. William says, bro, my favorite corn category is femboy gooning. Alright. JB says, you look like your brain is so numb from doing this. It might be. Porma2 says, let's be tyrannical lords in the Minecraft server. I don't think I want to make a competitive server. I don't want that. I want more creative building, not competitive. Gam says, what chair do you have? I have a Secret Labs chair. F says, hi Don, God loves you. Thank you. Max says, what's your favorite emoji? Mine is, sorry, but it didn't go through. That sucks. Porma2 says, real ones know there is more than one black thing. I forget. Little says, please rate my profile picture. 3. Creative says, little tubby. Okay. Dr. Leave says, Don, I don't think the other guys are real doctors. What other guys? Posting says, I like LeBron's balls. Okay. Moody says, $1,000. Now you can end stream. You gotta send it first. Little says, who's the Titus Angry Bird? No comment. Matt says, do you like spoons? Yeah, I do. JK says, I seriously have no idea who Mr. Beast is. I looked him up, never seen or heard of him. Wow, that's rare. Little says, damn, a 3. Okay. I mean, it's higher than usual. Creative says, you are bored as fuck. Dying rose emoji. Okay. Thank you again to Ramon for the super chat. The first Captain 1 says, will your chatter system work if I change my @ Yes, it will. The 1 says, I used to be Willie, so rate my profile picture. I don't want to now. Little says, pre-recorded. You know it's not. A Doom says, do you watch MMA? No, I don't. Zay4 says, will you furry roleplay with me? No. Hamudi says, racial slur. Okay. Thank you again, Max Boy for the 100, and Joel for the 6-7 abomination, and Teg for the flow state. Their nerdiest says, rate my profile picture. 1. Diddy says, scammer. In what way? Valeria says, hi Don, I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you. Safety says, how big is it? It's none of your business. Thank you, Roblox, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Porma2 says, this music really accentuates the gesture vibes. Okay. I'm not sure if that's a good thing. Diddy says, scammer, he said he'd oil up for 500 joules. No, I did not. Haz says, Ohio Giat. Okay. Alright. Thank you again, Roblox, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. And Levi for the preschool star. JK says, now Kamichi Pizza. Haven't tried that. Kerr says, what is the point of the water bottle in the background? For the reflections to look cool. Thank you, Ryder, for the laughing disco abomination. I appreciate it. Thank you. Wait a second. Oh, shoot. I don't think the timer is working correctly right now. I gotta fix that. 1 second, please. 1 second, please. The timer has been glitching out, I now realize. B says, are you mentally okay? Yes, I am. Blue says America. Okay. Thank you, Ryder, for the... What is that? Let him cook. Oh, that's pretty cringy. Thank you, I really appreciate it. And Hayden for the laughing disco. Thank you. The timer. Okay, there we go. It automatically increased. Awesome. Now it should be working. I'll add some extra time because it was glitching out and not all of it was working. So there we go. Ramon super chats. Bro, tell us about the old man that was very interested in you. How old was he? Was it your Uncle Lewis? No, it was a stranger. He was very flamboyant. He had like pink pants and a purple shirt. Sophia, thank you for the preschool star. And he was taking pictures of me with his iPad. It was kind of funny. Isa says, are you picking which ones to read? Yes, I am. Thank you, Hexy, for the preschool star. Lewis says, hi, my neighbor. Hello, Lewis. Homer 2 says, after all this time, I found you again. I said I would follow you anywhere you go. Okay. Alright. What's up? Creative says, should I send these 2 Visa cards that I got for my birthday? No, the people that gave you those cards would be disappointed. Max says, how much money do you make per video? A lot of people be gifting. Well, I make like $40 or $30 per hour streaming. Ramon says, add time please. Yes, sir. Timer extended. Valeria says, you have a beautiful smile. Thank you. Hamudi says, Homer, let the bards out. Okay. Andrew says, yo, remember me? No, I don't. Thank you again, Ryder, for the let him cook. Thank you. I appreciate it. Nightbot super chats, greatest achievement? Yes, I'm still asking. I don't know. I don't know, dude. I really want to make a, like, maybe, sorry, I'm stuttering. Yeah, I don't know, man, but this kind of relates to what you're saying. I really want to make a Minecraft server, and I think it's possible that it might be really good, like a genuinely good, like, interesting, innovative Minecraft server. The first captain says, I might make a new channel, claim my current username on that alt for personal use, then brand this channel for public content since it already has some unlisted videos and analytics. Oh, that seems kind of weird. I prefer some. Okay, that sounds good. Harold, thank you for the eagle. Jackson says, hi daddy, I missed you. Hello Jackson. Oski says emoji. Alright. North says, huh? What is it? North says, by the way, it's 3 a.m. here. Okay. Thank you, Harold, for the marshmallow hand. Thank you. Lagoat says, Dugoon. No comment. SJ says, GG. Alright. Maxboy says, did bro send $200? 200 pesos. Not American. Just says, blah, 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 blah. Racial slur. Okay. Kerr says, if you make that server, will it be Java or Bedrock? Java, but I think I can make it so that Bedrock players can join. Kinetic says, play Terraria. I have done that. Army says, hi. Hello, Army. Got says, hi. I like your jacket. Thank you. And thank you, Wemby, for the Uncle Alert. Lasagna says, bye, guys. Bye, Don. Nice to be with you guys today. See you, Lasagna. Bad says, play Watch Dogs. I played the second game. Max says, you should get a VR. Why? Thank you, not Gemini, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Creative says, do I have your permission to eat these spicy sweet chili chips? Yes, you do. Andrew says, the need voice. You mean the nerd voice. Niall says, sup bro. Hello, Niall. Crit says, how old are you? I'm above 17 years old. Larry says, play Half-Life. I have. Moon says, get a job. I don't talk about my job. Thank you, Wemby, for the Uncle Alert. I appreciate it. Thank you. Harold says, yo. Hello, Harold. SJ says, GG, Buffoon, look him up. I don't want to. Thank you, Spidey, for the 6-7 abomination. Edit says, what is your address? That's private. It's Nova says, did you know a strawberry has over 200 seeds? No, I didn't. James says, are you older than 26? No comment. Andrew says, what do you do in your free time? Well, right now I'm reading a book about AI. Logan says, hello, Chud. Hello, Logan. I love games, says, yo, read the Bible. Eventually. Bren says, what type of keyboard do you have? A Corsair K95. Alex says, 2B, 2T as rules now. Yeah, they were forced to by Mojang. Chuck says, any sports? No. Lagote says, opinions on Spain winning World Cup final? I don't care. Akif says, it's 2 a.m. Alright. Nightlight says, bro spawn camping his room studying AI. Spawn camping? What? Nothing says, did you see that a human eye can see up to 500 FPS? No. Interesting. Pools says, do you get tired of doing this? Yes. Kai says, how are you doing today? I'm doing fine. The first captain says, okay, at Creative Edits, W. Don Burrito. Alright. Thank you, the baby and Victoria for the Chuck E. Cheese coins. And thank you again to Wemby for the Uncle Alert. Medilla says, are you gay? I am not gay. Kai says, drink some water. Okay. 1 second, Kai guy. There you go. Posting says, if you stream for like hours and hours, but time never runs out, are you allowed to stop it at any point if it goes way too long? Yeah, I'll just stop the timer from increasing. I do that. Thank you, Noah Guerrero, for the Disco Ball Abomination. Ghost says, do a 360. No, that's weird. I'm Cookin' says, Scotty B is the GOAT. Who is that? Juliana says, why are you listening to people? Because that's my streaming style. Ramon says, are you going to live stream your wedding? No. Thank you, VR Alex, for the 6-7 Abomination. Luke says, hello. I am new to this channel. Hello. 24/7 says, what's up? Hello, 24/7. Maxboy says, did bro send $200? No. Thank you again, Noah Guerrero, for the stupid laughing disco. Motivation says, are you planning to get a haircut? Not soon. Patricia says, are you tired? No. Got says, you're going to get married, and I'm a guy. Man, alright. Thank you, Scaffold, for the pepper, and Papacito for the star. Reddy says, do you like God? That assumes that I think he exists. The first captain says, but eyes on average can take images at 24 to 30 FPS and connect what happens between them, which is why content is made at that FPS. Oh wow, that's fascinating. Thank you, Bryson, for the preschool star. Bella says, hello, can you give me advice? I'm new to making a YouTube channel. If you're going to make videos, spend hours and hours on your thumbnails because they're very important. Jagon says, do you know what is the biggest Minecraft server? Hypixel. Rio says, I'm new to this channel. Hello. Thank you, Benjamin, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Akif says, are you going to retire eventually? Well, probably never, actually. Kinetic says, 30k subspecial? No. No subspecials. Not even 100k. Crit says, hi, you look tired. Go to sleep? No, not right now. Blub says, bro doesn't realize there's a spider on his wall. No, there isn't. Nightbot super chats. Were you really fascinated by that comment? Yeah, I was. The 24 to 30 FPS, that's how, that's the FPS your eyes and brain register can, like, make sense of. I did think that was fascinating. I really do try to do my best to be genuine on here. Yeah. Thank you, Nightbot. Timer extended. Side says, I ate a pillow. Okay. Max says, what's your opinion on AI? I'm gonna have something in my brain in like 50 years. Injected. Neuralink, probably. It's inevitable. Me name, super chats. Bright light city. Gonna set my soul on fire. Gotta whole lot of money that's ready to burn. So get those stakes up higher. Viva Las Vegas. Okay. Whatever. Timer extended. LeGoat says LeBron is GOAT better than Scotty B. I don't know who that is. Probably a porn star or something. Victoria says fake laughing disco. Okay, alright. Ted says hi. Hello, Teds. Nightbot super chats. I feel like I annoy you. Sorry if I do. No, you don't. Thank you for the super chat. Timer extended. Oliver says hi. Hello, Oliver. The Purple says, are you tired? I am not tired. Gam says, who do you want to win the World Cup? It's already over. Oh wait, who did you want? You're using past tense. I wanted Spain, and I got that. Chant says, do you like baseball? I do not. I'm cooking says, bro doesn't know I'm in his ceiling. No, you're not. Creative edit super chats. Hello again. Rate my profile picture. Oh hey, it's me, but I'm older. With a beard, that's pretty cool. Timer extended. Meh says Elvis is king. Viva Las Vegas. Oh, those are Elvis lyrics? Okay. Alright. Oliver says, how are you? I'm doing fine. By the way, Nightbot, you do not annoy me. You don't. Peanut says, have you ever attempted suicide? No comment. Goku says, bruh. Alright. Mr. Atomic says, are you forklift certified yet? No. A person says, how old are you? I'm an adult. Creative says, I donated. Yeah, I saw, dude. Crit says, what's the difference between an agnostic and atheist? No offense. An agnostic doesn't even attempt to figure out what's beyond death. They think it's impossible to figure out. Hog says, have you heard the song Power Whistle from My Nose by Jewish Citizens? No, I haven't. TX says, I feel as if I have feelings for you. Well, they're in futility, so that sucks. MeName says, can you reverse a trailer? No, I can't. Slick says, hi, love from San Francisco. Thank you. I was watching a documentary on the Tenderloin District a while, like yesterday. The first captain says, when I was a noob, I made a few second animation not reusing frames at 60 FPS. Complete waste of time and YouTube combined, and faded some screens. Oh, okay. Mister says, do you have a car? Yes. Blob says, why won't you change that screen to something else? Because I don't know what else to change it to. This is the best thing. Chandler says, drive into a tornado. No. Big Teeth says, end stream. I don't want to. Legoat says, favorite food? The cheeseburger. Susan says, who is your favorite artist of all time? I don't know, man. Like music or painting. Kay says, I'm agnostic. Am I cooked? No, you're not. Goku says, I ride dirt bikes. I can see that. I'm balding says, do you have nice toes? I don't know how to rate them. Chicken says, hi from Boston. Hello, Chicken. And thank you, Sophia, for the Chuck E. Cheese coins. Hog says, Dawn, have you heard the song Coins Don't Roll When I'm Done by 500 BC to now? No, I haven't. Gold Squad says, what is your favorite movie? Eyes Wide Shut. Albus says, yo bro, how is this not boring? It's thanks to you guys and your unique messages. Thank you, Snipebot, for the artificial flower. Jason says, hi from Malaysia. Hello, Jason. Prime says, do you know Marlon? Yeah, he's that world famous streamer. Hog says, you're a legend. Thank you. Sub says, Ronaldo or Messi? Messi. Under says, God loves you, bro. Thank you. Angel says, do you like lasagna? I haven't tried it, or at least I can't remember doing it. Thank you, Benjamin Bright, for the flow state. Max says, each eye has about 120 million rod cells for seeing in dim light. Oh wow. I don't know what a rod cell is though. Well, I guess I know now. It's for seeing in dim light. Seven says hi. Hello, Seven. Car says, rate my profile picture. kind of boring. Thank you, Ann Lom, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Matteo says, that's nice black shirt you have, thank you. Ethan says hi. Hello, Ethan. Simon says, Neymar is better than Messi, debate me. Maybe he is, I don't care. I don't care about soccer. Thank you, Leo, for the disco ball abomination. The Fummy says, yo, you gay? I see femboy potential. Well, that potential will never happen. The Bolt says raid. If this, maybe. Thank you, Exnative, for the marshmallow. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. I see your cute profile picture. Spang says hi. Hello, Spang. Nightbot super chats. No more Ronaldo or Messi. Mbappe holds the cup goals record now, so Messi or Ronaldo is dead. Is cup goals really the way to base things off of? That seems... I don't know. Stewart says 67. Okay. Porma2 says, just give up to your BBC overlords. You will never be a man. I'm never gonna give up. Thank you, free bands, for the clutch. God says, hi brother, good boy. Hello. Audrey says, what are you doing in front of you? I'm using my mouse to select chat messages. Yuki says, convince me why I shouldn't kill myself. I don't see a point. Because think about your greatest memories and perhaps you can get a feel for that same happiness in the future if you stay alive. Alex says, hi, how are you? I am good. Carr says, do you have any other YouTube alts? No. Owen says, daddy, come back now. I'm not your dad. Mateo says, you could change the background to a Cosmos space loop for 1 hour. Well, I really like how the video behind me, it's like a circle and it like goes into my head. It's like expanding out of my head. I like that a lot. Thank you, free bands, for the press F. The 10 of them, thank you. Beef says, are you Christian? No. Thank you, Eugene Buckets, for the 6-7 abomination. Retro says, hi, I was here last stream. Hello, Retro. By the way, Eugene, I am curious where your profile picture is from. It looks like security camera footage, so I wonder what the incident was. Thank you, Legend, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Pac-Man says, what does a Darth is Vader from the mall? What? Thank you, Ro, for the flower. Nightbot super chats. Messi is a number 10. His job is to score goals. If he doesn't have the most goals, he's not the best. Pretty simple, really. Okay, yeah, I guess that is simple. So yeah, I guess Mbappe is the best. Thank you, Basile, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. And, Legend for the flower. Carr says, what should I change my profile picture to? I don't know, but a fancy car in the parking lot? That's pretty boring. The Flippin' Gambler super chats. How's it going? It's going fine. I'm a little thirsty right now. By the way, thank you again for the 500 American dollars you sent a few streams ago. Felicia says, what country do you live in? I live in the United States. Cameron says, Gojo or Sakana? Gojo. Clean says, my dirt bike came today. Oh, cool. Thank you, Eugene, for this blowfish thing. Thank you. You gave me a blowfish. You didn't answer the question though, so thank you, the Flippin' Gambler. Timer extended. And by the way, I still haven't bought GTA 6. I don't have a PS5 yet, so I'll have to get that first. And if you think about it, if I buy a PS5 and GTA 6, you're technically paying for it from all of your super chats, so thank you. I Just Draw says, hey, are you talking to all comments? Basically. Alex says, do you like Di? I do not. Tenley says, Do you keep up with Streamer University? Not really. Nightbot Super Chats. I'm spending money, too much money, talking to you. Okay, yeah. You've sent a few Super Chats to stream, so perhaps. Thank you, Nightbot. Timer extended. Mo says, I hope you have a good day. Thank you. Crit says, who are the pictures on the desk, if you don't mind? Well, this guy is, Stonewall Jackson. A-Man says, R.I. guys, what? Matteo says, maybe like a wormhole visualizer, because that is a circular tunnel. Oh, that sounds interesting. You should send me a video of that on Discord. My Discord name is in my YouTube about me. Eugene says, sent VCs. Thank you, Eugene. The Flippin' Gambler Super Chats, that was the plan when I sent it. Hoping you would... Okay, I'll do it. Alright, I'll do it. I'll buy a PS5 Pro and GTA 6. I think I said I would do that in the stream you sent that, so... Yeah, I'll do it. I'm thinking though, maybe I can get a PS5 on Craigslist. Or maybe I should just buy it new. Dead says, this has happened before, don't forget again. I forget. Thank you, Flippin'. Timer extended. I really appreciate the Super Chats. And thank you, Eugene, for the stupid turtle drinking water. I'll do that myself. Thank you, Eugene. KC says, what kind of toothpaste you use? I use Colgate. Your boy says, I changed my profile picture, bro. That's me. Even with my hand on my forehead. Charlotte says, you're so good looking. Thank you. And thank you, Eugene, for this stupid little egg eating ramen. This ramen bowl. Thank you. He's slurping it up. Thank you. Some says, how do I be rude and not always kind and speak up? I don't know, man. Game says, do you like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? No, I don't. Devil says, you're having a headache? No. Alan says, hi, my name is Alan. Hello, Alan. Random says, tongue to her. Okay. Alright. Thank you, Eugene, for this Fortnite chest thing. This loot box, thank you. Gold coins and Chuck E. Cheese coins in there. Caden says gay. Okay. Alright. Template says stop glazing super chat and gifts. Should I? Is that annoying? I don't know. I'm gonna do it anyways right now. Thank you, Tester, for the disco ball abomination. Mandy says, will you ever wear a short sleeve, bruh? Yes. Nightbot super chats. He must be a successful gambler to afford $500. Yeah, I mean, he must be. And you know, yeah, he recently went to Vegas, so it seems he's deep into gambling. It's Remain says, will you wear wigs? I will not wear wigs. And if you look at his profile, never mind. Egg says, do you sleep? I do sleep, of course. JK says, who wants your D more, Ramon, or the Flippin' Gambler? No comment. Thank you, Eugene, for the second stupid egg slurping ramen. Rex says, what was the best thing in your life? I don't know, man. Suron says, you seem happier. Thank you. JK says, background music, the Navy theme. Yeah, that's on occasionally. The D1 says raid eventually. Devil says Enrique. Alright. By the way, what I was going to say about the Flippin' Gambler's profile is that I can imagine this person sitting at a poker table. I imagine that's where the picture is taken. Alan says hi. Hello, Alan. Goj says, hi, good boy. Hello, Goj. Nightbot super chats. Profile picture is in the middle of a poker hand wall. Yeah, that's... Yeah, you and I were thinking the same thing. Yeah. Exactly. Thank you, Nightbot. Timer extended. Toasted says, yo. Hello, Toasted. Eugene says, it is indeed security footage from a YouTube video. Yeah, but like, what is he doing? Just shoplifting? T-Lore says, hello, Don. Long time no see. Hello, T-Lore. Bacon says, hey man, you should smile more. Yeah, maybe I should. Malo says, your chair looks like a 5'7" man living in a 900 square foot apartment, the capital of Morocco, while eating. Okay, I've never had that before. JK says, I would beat the flipping gambler in Texas Hold'em. Okay. Mass says, that background is hurting my eyes. I'm sorry. Thank you, Eugene, for all the ramen and chess you sent. Al says Portuguese. Alright. Eugene says, why would you assume shoplifting? Well, I mean, why would it be posted? Like, if it's security camera footage of, like, nothing happening, then I don't know why it would be famous. Thank you, Robbie, for the Uncle Alert thing. I appreciate it. Anlam says, what size? No comment. Surfboard says, grab the water. No. No. Thank you, Pax, for the Uncle Alerts. And Courtney for the Uncle Alert. You guys both sent that stupid gift at the same time. Albus says, how so is this a social experiment? Because of your guys' participation. I don't know what you guys are going to say. Candy says, hi. Hello, Candy. Eugene says, nice recovery. Thank you. I'm not racist. Percy says, is a light switch technically dark switch? Yeah, I guess so. Aspen says, hi. Hello, Aspen. Ada says, hi. Hello, Ada. Thank you, the Pax, for the Uncle Alert. I appreciate it. BB says, sent night market, that's fake. CPT says, hi. Hello, CPT. Sebastian says, hi. Hello, Sebastian. Lane says, Jesus loves you. Thanks. Torque says, are we raiding today? Yes, we are. Thank you, the Pax, for the 6-7 abomination. Baseball says, rate my profile picture. I like the angle. Like, it looks interesting. Gwyn says, hi. Hello, Gwyn. YSO says, just wasted 3 seconds of your time. No, you didn't. Biggie says, rate the profile picture out of 10. It's disturbing. Enchanted says S. Okay. Thank you, Rockin', for the flow state. Sorry that I missed that. Now you sent 2 of them. Thank you. Complex says, when's the room tour? Never. Narpy says, rate my profile picture. 1, 2. Maxboy says, did you know babies don't produce tears till they are a few weeks old? No, I didn't. Thank you, David, for the flower, and Riker for the disco ball abomination. TJ says, sent flow, that's fake. Layla says, why did he start a YouTube channel? For money. For money. BB says, you're gay. No, I'm not. Diesel says, rate my profile picture. 3. Sock Super Chats. Congratulations, Don. You're the first stream I'm ever watching on my new phone. Thank you for the honor. I appreciate it. I hope I look more better and more handsome on your phone. It should be, right? Better quality. Lane says, Jesus loves you. Thank you. BJ says, hi. Hello, BJ. Gua says, how much do you get paid? Like, at least $30 an hour streaming. Thank you, Socks. Timer extended. Dart says, are you doing for real? I don't know what you're saying. Bruce says, I feel bad. This ain't a social experiment. This is just torture. Yeah. Thank you, B. Savvy, for the disco ball abomination, and Aspen for the 30-40 sparkles. Martin says, okay. Alright. Sleepy says, do you like Tyler the Creator? I haven't listened to his music. Porma2 says that JK, I believe so. I don't know. JK says, to friend you in Discord, do I need to add the @ symbol? I don't think so. No. Thank you, Aspen, for the disco ball abomination. Dave M says, who the fuck wears long sleeves in summer? Don does, yeah. I'm weird. Screaming says, you ever played Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2? Yeah, for like an hour. Zane says, rate my profile picture. 1. Kat says, rate my... I also give yours a 1. By the way, I am making an announcement right now. The timer is now locked. Super chats and gifts no longer increase the timer. 1 second, please. I'm locking the timer. 1 second, please. I'm almost done. Just be patient. 1 second, please. I'm almost done. Okay, I think it's working now. Thank you, Aspen, for the power potion thing. I appreciate it. Cemetery says, how are you, man? I'm good. Duck says, rate my profile picture. Oh, that's... I wish it was centered, though. Brilliant says, you can't enter Agartha because you lost 271,000 Vril by being gay. I mean, I'm Hispanic anyways, so... Thank you, Aspen, for the 6-7 abomination. Poop says, low-key, do the Green Bay butter churn. I don't know what that is. Yuck says, remember me, Don? No, I don't. Thank you, Fun, for the flow state. Fresh says, do you watch sports? No, I don't. JK says, I sent a Discord friend request. I'll accept it. Seer says, do you remember me? No, I don't. No. 1 second, please. 1 second, please. Christine says, do you suck dick? I do not. TJ says, sent fake gift. Alright. Poopstar says, you don't want to know what it is. Okay. EXT says, I like your background. Thank you. M says, Sui. Alright. Razor says, hi. Hello, Razor. AJ says, you play Fortnite? Yeah, every now and then. Thank you, Rob, for the flower. Gwyn says, hi. Hello, Gwyn. No says, rate my profile picture, please. It sucks. Real says R. Okay. Surfboard says, you know you're thirsty. I am. Remind me in 5 minutes, though. Rock says, nonsense. Okay. Adam says, ancient Barmbabaland prophecy. When the golden sesame bar appears, the chosen live stream shall be blessed with brain rot. Bambolino shall return, and halalala will echo forever. Okay, whatever. Tanya says, how are you? I'm good. Ramon super chats, timer isn't locked. Add time. Please show hog outline again. Timer isn't locked. It looks locked to me. You want me to unlock it? Sorry. I want a 2-hour stream today, not 3 hours, not 5 hours, 2 hours. CP says, hi. Can you rate my profile picture, please? I like the design. Hey says, I don't think you're okay. I am okay. Thank you, YK, for the flow state. Saran says, drink water. That's not 5 minutes. Banana says, gay. Okay. Shell says, you like men? No. I'm Flamingo says, Messi lost yesterday. Oh, that's unfortunate. Thank you again, the Flippin' Gambler, for your super chats. I appreciate it. I'm not sure who's the biggest super chatter, you or Ramon. I think it's you, though, if I had to bet, though. Chance says, do you know Forsaken in Roblox? No, I don't. Thank you, YK, for the eagle. Doreen says, yo, and I hope my day goes to work for you. What? Okay says, you love Israel? No comment. Cordy says, eat Daniel Larson mac and cheese. I don't like feces. Well, thank you, YK, for the flower, and again for the eagle. Thank you. Void says, name a word that ends with the letter J. I don't know, man. Harper says, rate my profile picture. Oh, clouds, that's peaceful. Thank you, Rodrigo, for the stupid seal. Lemon says, I like dick. That's cool. Micah says, can I donate $500? Yeah, you can. Zimin says, hi. Hello, Zimin. Chap says, bro is fried. No, I'm not. Metal says, you like any rock bands? I listened to a Ramones album once a few months ago, and I enjoyed that. Thank you, Camda, for the Uncler. Thank you. Appreciate it. Brander says hi. Hello, Brander. I am Chappie says I want to lick. You want to lick a what? Sebastian says, do you love God? No, I don't. Your boy says the ladder incident. I'm eating a ladder? I would never do that. Thank you, Camda, for the 6-7 abomination. Frio says, name a letter that starts with D and ends with K. You mean a word? A word would be dick. Divine says, would you rather fuck a regular guy or a femboy? I can't think about that. Rumi says L. Okay. Ryan says, do you eat tacos? Yes. Dave M says, if you had to stream for 1 week straight or quit now, what would you do? I would stream for a week straight. Beanie, thank you for the clutch. Jane Ice says, why do you do these lives? For money. Evan says, favorite food? I liked the egg burrito that I had today. Christian says, are you Mexican? I have ancestry from there, but not nationality. Oh yeah, says, you look like the guy from Death Note. Okay. Fen says, your channel is so peak, I love it. Thank you. Kinetic says, how many hours on Minecraft? At least 1,000. Thank you, Camda, for the flow state. Gradient says, what's your favorite video game or sport? Minecraft. Eli says, is parasocial a word? Yes, it is. Surfboard says, water emoji. That usually indicates ejaculation in my chat, though, But thank you for the reminder, and thank you, Camda, for the high five. 1 second, please. Thank you, Surfboard, for the reminder. Snub says, playing Rust. I haven't played that. Milk says, chicken is goddamn delicious. Alright. Mason says, be honest. Would you fly on a Boeing or Airbus? Boeing. Deuce says, I'm gay. That's cool. That's cool. I don't know, says G. Alright. JK says, you will like my Discord profile picture, lol. Okay. I'm curious to see what it is. CP says, Don, drink some water. I just did. Sour says, who's your favorite TDAC character? I hate that show. Joshua says, why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. I just laughed so hard. Okay. Thank you, D'Angelo, for the feces. 90 says, day has happened. What? Duck says, rate my profile picture. 2. I'm Choppa says, bread. Alright. Milkman says, I hate you so much. Okay. Zerp says, drop some ball knowledge. Roy Gerbel. ISO says, yo, do you like the weekend? No, I don't. Thank you again to Camda for the flow state. The Adventurer says, enjoy your day/night. I will, thank you. 9 says, rate my profile picture. I don't like anime. LaCroix says, what's your favorite hobby? I don't know. I don't really have hobbies. Just Void says, are you okay? Yes. Everett says, what are your thoughts on a Make America Great Again? I don't talk politics. Thank you, Camda, for the plastic flower. India says, rate my profile picture. I don't want to. That's... Well, it's pretty wholesome. I can say that. Liz says, hello, Don. How has Monday been treating you? Guess who is heading back to Taiwan for a couple of weeks? My brother is going back and asked me to go. It's for a gaming tournament, right? Dado says, do you remember me? Do you remember? I do not remember you. Spunky super chats. Can you spell Roy Gerbel for me? Please. G. Well, the last name is G as in Nat. And I don't know. X says bring my profile picture. 2. Mr. Flip says hi. Hello, Mr. Flip. Elt says hello there. Hello, Elt. Viral says hi. Hello, Viral. You like COD? I like Black Ops 2. The goat says drink water. Remind me in 10 minutes. Michael says I like Duffy. Alright. Screaming says, wow, I never met anyone that plays Garden Warfare 2. Cool, what made you play it? Someone bought it for me. I only played it for like half an hour though. I don't really like it. Dylan, thank you for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Chap sends fake gift. Okay. Black says hi. Hello, Black. Larper says rate my profile picture. Oh, hey, it's me. That's cool. Alana says rate my profile picture. I don't want to, sorry. Cabin says, please show me handsome. There you go. Thank you for the super chat, Levin. Turbo says, what is your gooning streak? No comment. Riz says, Spain won, not Argentina. Yeah. Liv says, do you get paid for this? Yes. Julio says, like any sports? I do. I mean, actually, no, I don't. I just lied there. Cool says, have you ever played Battle Cats? No, I haven't. Hey says, let's go Argentina. Okay. I am says, whoever read this comment is gay. Your comment doesn't have that power. 1 second, please. I'm doing something. One second, please. I'm almost done. Vert says, what are your thoughts on the allegations against Creekcraft? I don't know Creekcraft. I know he's that guy with the weird hair, but I don't know the allegations. 1 second, please. Okay, there we go. Chris says, what's up? Hello, Chris. Thank you, Crystal, for the Uncle Alerts. I appreciate it. And Lyndon. Thank you both for your Uncle Alerts. Owaka says, rate my profile picture. 4. Logan says, are you okay? Yes. Megumi says, hello, Parasocial. Hello, Megumi. Sammy says, are you gay? I am not gay. Ramon says, live for 2 minutes. Okay. I will do that. Thank you, Ike, for the watermelon. I appreciate this stupid watermelon with sunglasses on. I'm gonna, for the next 2 minutes or so, I'm gonna include some lies in my answers and the way I act. Hero says rate my profile picture. Okay, I'm not gonna lie about that. I don't like that guy. Zero. Thank you, Crystal, for the Uncle Alert. Zoe says hi. Hello, Zoe. Chap says, hey, you forgot to thank me for my gift. It was a fake gift, though. The Black says, do you fart? No comment. King says, say hi to the next person you see. No, I don't want to. Spunky says, G as in Nat. Are you participating in Ding Timber this year? I should. I should put some notes on cars. I hope I do. JK says, G as in Nat. Well, G as in golf. Yeah, I was making a joke. It was actually a reference to a show that I listened to. Kind of like a podcast. And that's a joke, they say. Mike says, do you play Roblox? I do not. Actually, I do. I was playing Forsaken an hour ago. I don't know why I lied about that. Thank you, Free Band, for the flow state. Maxon says you need to play Battle Cats. Yeah, I should. I'll buy that after the stream. Nina says hi. Hello, Nina. Nano says, do you have a Tumblr account? I do not. Levin's super chats, dude, what the fuck? I want a refund for that super chat. YouTube doesn't do refunds, and you're not going to get a manual refund from me, so I'm sorry. Jetty says, I like to stick it in chickens. No comment. Noob says, no way someone plays Battle Cats. Okay. Official says September 9th, 2016. That's when I made this channel page. Just says, have you flipped off someone? No. Thank you, Gecko, for this stupid let him cook cringy thing. I appreciate it. Screaming says, how did you play the campaign? If you didn't, you should. Oh, for Forsaken Roblox? Yeah, I did. It was awesome. That campaign was epic. Lucy says, do you like My Hero Academia? Yeah. I love Sakana is my favorite character. Mister says, rate my profile picture. 6. Ty says, are you going to participate in No Nut November? Yes. The Frog says, you like frogs? Yes, I do. Max says, what's parasocial mean? Just search it up on Google. King says, you look tired. I am tired. I'm so sleepy right now. ARG says, hello. Hello, ARG. It's Jay says, sent a star. That's fakes. Jake says, when was the last time you went outside? 2 weeks ago. Fitness says, hey bro, how are you doing? I'm doing fine. Thank you again, Gecko, for the let him cook. I really do appreciate it, Gecko. I see that cat in your profile picture. Abbas says, can I get a shout out please? No. Spunky says, P as in pterodactyl. Yeah. ARG says, are you gay? Yes, I am. Ultra says, what's your favorite food? My favorite food is sushi. Zoe says, hi. Hello, Zoe. Mary says, hi, you look tired. Yeah, I am tired. Fent says, don't look at this. Too late. Sebastian says, are you nice guy? No, I'm a very mean, rude person. The Ultimate says, remember me? Yeah, I do remember you. Welcome back, man. Gojo says, what's your favorite killer in Forsaken? My favorite killer is, Alakum. Edit says, hi. Hello, Edits. Ray says, what was your first job? My first job was a Walmart greeter. Thank you, Awaka, for the chili. Shervon says, what is your opinion for the game Valorant? I love that game. Yeah, I mean, more people should play it. Better than CSGO. Jonah says, okay. Alright. Thank you, Pear, for the marshmallow. Christian says, tomorrow is my birthday. Okay. Jaden says, hi, are you gay? Yes, I am. Bina says, hi, hello. Liz says, I'm not sure if there's a tournament going on, to be honest. I'm really excited, though. There are so many things I wanted to do. Okay. I wonder what, what is there to do? Spunky says, I like Lyrodon. Thank you. Fair says, I love you. Thanks. Cosmo says, have you pre-ordered GTA 6? No, I haven't. Thank you, Brute Bridge, for the GOAT trophy. I appreciate it. The Golden Gate Bridge. Thank you, Brute Bridge. And, Lighting for the Uncle Alert. Jason says, drink water now. Not right now. Carty says, is it gay to like femboy? Yes. Daddy says, are you gay? Yes, I am. Yep. GT says, what is your favorite car inside of Gorilla Tag? I like, the Zentornos. That's my favorite car. Thank you, LS, for the flow state. Surfboard says, gonna bounce. Later on, see ya, Surfboard. Captain says, rate my profile picture. Terrible. Looks like AI slop. JK says, my cat was going apeshit, trying to get into the bathroom. See profile picture. Yeah, I see. Wow, those eyes are insane. Kelly says, I love you. I love you too. Ahmed says, you know grass? Yeah. Your boy says, real footage of Don drinking water. Yeah, that's me. That's something. The creative says, my dog died. I'm sorry. Sophia says, do you have a pet? I have no pets. Liz says, yes, Don lying for minutes should be a permanent part of the stream. Yeah, it'll be reoccurring. Godfear says, you like Red Dead Redemption 2? Yes, it's my favorite game of all time. Beautiful story. Daddy says, have you ever said the N-word? No. DeReal super chats, Dada, are you my Dada? Hi, Dada. I am not your Dada. Actually, I mean, I don't know who you are, so I can't rule that out exactly, but I think the odds are low. Classified says, do you have a VR headset? I do, yeah. iMain says, favorite color? I love purple. Showa says, I love you. I love you too, man. Thank you, Ev, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Kendall says, do you remember me? I do remember you. I actually do, by the way. I remember your profile picture. Frent says, rate my profile picture. I drew it. 7. Xavier says, Jesus is king. He is, yeah. Sherv says, what is your opinion? Already read that. Brandon says, I got a hamster. Me too. Shane says, are you sad? Yes, I'm depressed. B says, do you like to play 7 Minutes in Heaven? Yes, I love that game. Thank you, Lighting, for the stupid turtle drinking water. In honor of that turtle, I'll drink water. 1 second, please. Thank you, Lighting. Fran says, do you support Therians? Yes. And by the way, I'm actually indifferent. And by the way, I have been lying for the past few minutes. I've been playing a character for like the past few minutes or so. So, but now I'm gonna be more honest now. So, Michael says, "Do you like Godzilla balls?" No, I do not. Eric says 1. Okay. 7 says, "Suck poo." I'm not doing that. Colton says, "Don, I support you being gay." Thank you, but I'm actually not gay. I was just playing a character for a few minutes. Thank you, Ben, for the makeup brush, and Toby for the flower. Classified says, "What kind of VR headset?" I don't own a VR headset. Dave M says, "Don, lying isn't a character." Well, I wasn't being myself, so I classify that as a character. Thank you, Daryl, for the super chat. Daryl super chats, Dada. When the Dada happens, can we Dada room, please? Can we go for a drive? No. Xavier says, "What is your favorite Bible verse?" Matthew 5:28. Thank you, Jagged, for the stupid turtle drinking water. I'll drink some more, because I am thirsty. 1 second, please. Thank you again, Jagged. Let says, "This fake all live. Pre-recorded? No." Sophia says, "Do you play Fortnite?" I do sometimes. Levin says, "To make up for the super chat of mine you skip, tell the story of the creepy old man IRL you talked about like 20 minutes ago." I mean, I don't want to tell the whole story. You can ask details though, but I'm not going to tell the whole thing. Thank you to Real for the disco ball abomination. The Ultimate says, "Elbow emoji." Okay. I'm Just says, "I just tapped the art." Okay, whatever that means. Jeffrey says, "I'm super hard and it is because of you. So will you have sex with me?" No, I will not. Thank you, Aka, for the disco ball abomination. Acadia, thank you. Milkman says, "Interesting man balls." Alright. Yuki says, "Love your videos. Sorry you're tired." I'm actually not tired. Rosie says, "2 of my gifts were ignored." Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Rosie, for the feces you sent earlier. Garfield says, "Can you oil up?" No. Someone says, "Do you remember me in that one live?" No, I don't. The Fink says, "What kind of doorknob is on your door?" It's a round sphere. Jeffrey says, "Please, no." You can masturbate, I guess, but we're not having sex. Thank you, Based Glazer, for the Unklert. Thank you for glazing me with your gift. Sir Alon says, "Someone free me. He has me trapped in the cellar." No, I don't. Nen says, "Wonder hoy." Alright. How says, "Who sent the big ass dono?" What dono? If you're, I did receive 500 American dollars donation a few days ago. That was from the Flippin' Gambler. Right here, he sent $20, but a few days ago, it was he sent 500. Hi says, "What do you want to do with your life?" I want to make videos. YT says, "Hi." Hello, YT. Thank you, Sophia, for the 4 thumbs up. I'm Just says, "A yart is a weed pen." Oh, okay. Thank you. DH says, "Why don't you still go to Chuck E. Cheese?" Because that's for children, and my family birthday parties for other children. We have class, so we don't go there. Daryl says, "Dad, please, can we room Dada?" No, we can't. Kafu says, "Hi." Hello, Kafu. Arden says, "Do you play chess?" No, I don't. Bloodthirsty says, "Dawn is trying to read our minds." Yeah, it looks like that. BC says, "Neighbor." Okay. Neon says, "Top 5 cookies." I only like snickerdoodles. Kerr says, "Rate my profile picture." I decided to be different from everyone else. Being different doesn't mean good. That's a clear example of being different not being good. BP says, "Name a sports player for an edit." Mbappe. Megumi says, "How is your day going?" It's going good. Cupshot says, "Do you like the game Atlas for my puppy?" No, I don't. Ken says, "Wait, rate my profile picture." Oh, that's a cute cat. Tracy says, "Hi, I love your videos." And is Tracy a good name? Tracy. It's a good name. I think I prefer Lucy though. Shadow says hi. Hello, Shadow. Michael says hi. Hello, Michael. Always says, when's the last time you went to bed? I'm not gonna say, but I will say that I'm not sleep deprived. Yusuf says, rate my profile picture. Absolutely terrible. Thank you, Ashley, for the feces, and Jagged for the feces. Sebastian says, you're the best for not being judgy. Thank you. And thank you, Orbit, for the flower. Daisy says, I ate my goldfish. Like Wolf of Wall Street. Panko says, do you play GNB? No, I don't. Milkman says, soybeans and wasabi my butt. Okay. Levin says, did the old man try touching it? The old man did not attempt touching me. No. Uzian says, toilet shit. Okay. Jake says, hey bro, hope you're having a great day. Thank you. Dareal says, what's up, Daddy Don? Hello, Dareal. By the way, the old man did not threaten to touch me. So, I was worried though that he might try though, but luckily that did not happen. Thank you, Esther, for the Unkalert. That's a big forehead. Minnie says, if I spin my wheel, will you do what it lands on now? Hero says, how people be acting before being found at something something. No comment. Lily says hi. Hello, Lily. Jason says, is this better than a normal job? Well, I don't talk about my job, but this compared to, like, McDonald's, I don't know, maybe, I imagine this is better. Your boy says, the Lying Don character. Yeah. It should be a thinner nose, like Pinocchio. That just looks like a, like, it should look more like Pinocchio, I think. Rainbow says blah. Okay. Your name says water break. Not right now. I'm gay says rate my profile picture. I'm not lesbian. I am gay. I don't know. 3. Chap says, why is it so long and hard to get up here? Lots of people. Claytonic says, maybe we'll meet at a bar. We'll drive a funky yet. No, I doubt that's gonna happen. PV says, you believe in religion. If not, if you believe in God and he's not real, there is nothing to lose, but if you don't and he's real, there is a lot to lose. I'm confident that no religion is right. Thank you, Michael Klein, for the disco ball abomination. I appreciate it. Welcome back to the stream, by the way. Adam says, free Israel from terrorists. No comment. JK says, haha, people that take their kids to Chuck E. Cheese for birthdays have no class. I agree. Yeah. Thank you, VXT, for the Unkalert. I appreciate it. Front says, free Israel. No comment. I'm the dog says, how many inch monitors are behind you? There's the only monitor behind me is my TV. Thank you, Esther, for the stupid turtle drinking water. I'll drink some water myself. I'll mimic this turtle. 1 second, please. Okay, there we go. Thank you again, Esther. And thank you, Avery, for the 6-7 abomination. Gaby says, Donny boy, I am back. How would you rate a gorilla that stretched 8 arrows into last pound? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. X says, hey man, I hope you're having a great day. I am. Spunky says, South Park said the Mormons were right and South Park never lies. Okay. Thank you, 92, for the flow state. Regatha says, free Palestine. No comment. Pacific says, you are at 29.9k subs. Okay. 90 says, how big is it, neighbor? My penis is none of your business. Perfect says, which time do you sleep? No comment. Isabella says, I think you're really cool. Thank you. Ramon says, bro, can you imagine all the problems if you call your daughter Lucy? She's gonna be in the poll. She is? Is that a... I did not know that. STL says, hello Don, today's my birthday. Thank you, STL. Hero says, bro, my profile picture is really sorry. Can he have a second chance? I don't think Hitler is sorry. Let says, Jesus loves you. I appreciate it. Screaming says, dude, I meant Garden Warfare 2, not Forsaken. Oh, I didn't play the campaign. Dude, I only played it for like half an hour. I don't have a good memory of the game. Thank you, Michael, for the Disco Ball abomination. Thank you. JK says, raid at Mochi Suka Music. Sorry. I'm not taking recommendations right now, I'm sorry. Sexy says, yo, you still oiling up? I never promised that. Liv says, hi, what's your favorite food? The cheeseburger. Thank you, Victor, for the Disco Ball abomination. Lucy says, help, my brother bites me. I can't help with that. Dominic says, holy, he is not black, and he said, neighbor. I didn't say the actual thing. Perfect says, how well you do in confined spaces. Normal. I don't have claustrophobia. Bloodthirsty says, rate my profile picture, I just changed it today. It's disturbing, but also kind of fascinating, and maybe, I don't know, there's something interesting about it. Levin says, do you like the gay band Tool? I haven't listened to them. B says, rate my profile picture. 1. Tracy says, can I make dinner for you one day? I will make jerk chicken and mac and cheese potato salad. That sounds good, but you're a stranger. So, user says age, I'm an adult. Floody says, genders are like the Twin Towers. There used to be 2, now it's a sensitive topic. No comment. Thank you, Portugal, for the 6-7 abomination. A says hello, hello A. Off route says hi, hello off route. Screaming says, please give Garden Warfare 2 another chance. Also, I gotta go. Dude, I'm not a child. That game is made for children. I'm a grown man now. That's not my business anymore. X4 says MJ or LeBron. LeBron. I heard it was a good game though, and I saw that Jinxie revived it, but it's just not my style. Zoe says, you're cute, I love you, thank you. Your boy says, conservative Dawn confirmed. No comment. Thank you, Portugal, for the second 6-7 abomination. Bill says, have you used a bidet? I haven't. Elliot says, rate my profile picture. 1. Bloodthirsty says, thank you, Mr. Don Benitez III. You're welcome. Nathan says, Mr. Benitez, to me, you are famous. Thank you, Nathan. Another Nathan says, you gay? I'm not. Balling says, blah 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 blah, racial slur. Alright. Yvonne says, rate my profile picture. Oh, that's cute. Short says, how long have you been here? I've been here for like an hour and a half. Allie says, can a queer be gay and trans? I think so. And nice profile picture, by the way. 1 second, please. 1 second, please. My computer is not loading. Ace says, I'm gonna guess your age 18. Maybe. I'm not gonna say. Unfound says, rate my profile picture. I don't like the style. David says, are you okay? Yes, I am. Andre says, are you gay? No. Bloodthirsty says, poop break. Emoji, emoji, emoji. I am gonna go do something right now. I'm not gonna do that, but I'll be right back. 1 second, please. I'll be right back. I'm back. Ondar says cheesecake or brownie, yo. Cheesecakes. Carissa says, you've ignored all my gifts. Now I'm homeless. I'm very sorry. I mean, even if I paid attention, you'd still be homeless. Thank you, Michael, for the preschool star. Abigail says, where did you go? I'm not gonna say. I'm sorry. Almost says, I like your streams. Is better 100,000. What? Ramon super chats. I love it when you stand up. No comment. Nyla says, your fit is tough. Thank you. And Viz says, what did you do when you were gone? Sorry, I'm not gonna say. Micah says, you look so cute putting your headphones like that. I have to do it that way because I use my headphones as a kind of hairband. And Vivo says, right my profile picture. I can't tell what's going on. EX says, answer me please. Here's an answer. Thank you, June, for the preschool stars. Hash says, I am gay. Is it A, yes, B, no? C, leave blank. B. Rosie says, what's your hair care routine? Take showers and use shampoo, and that's it. Nathan says, lol, Mr. Benitez. I can't believe there is another Nathan now. I can believe it. Kerr says, I didn't know Dawn had legs. Yeah, I do. Chap says, everybody spam funky or you are weird. That's lame. Sun says, you're so hot. Will you please say, of course, I'll eat your pussy. There you go. Your boy says, were you blowing big O's? Oral sex? No. Thank you, Ginger and Moxtro, for the preschool stars. 17, thank you. Win says you are tough. Thank you. 1 second, please. Alexander says, funky. You fell for that stupid stuff? Frost says, rate my profile picture. Terrible. The Cozy says, hi. Hello, Cozy. 1 second, please. 1 second, please. 1 second, please. Matthew says, what can I do for you to remember me? To chat a lot. Nyla says, how are you? I'm good. Thank you, Mox, for all the preschool stars. Levin says, can you unban my main? I fumbled a 10 and now I'm sad. Well, what I will tell you is that people never actually get banned forever. Like, if anyone gets banned, it'll only be for like a few days, like a week at max. Cray says, rate my profile picture 1. Real says, yo, hello, Real. Thank you, Mox, for all the stars you sent. Jan says, who did you want to win yesterday's World Cup? I wanted Spain. Thank you, good old boy, for the sunballoon thing. Is that... I don't know what that is. Is that Bigfoot? With American stuff? Wendy says, yo, bro, what video games do you play? The last thing I played was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Nathan says, I'm the original Nathan. I hope you never forget me, Mr. Benitez. Eventually I will. Leah says, hi. Hello, Leah. Zero says, can I cosplay as your chair and also be in your house? No, that's weird. Thank you, Kinetic, for the GG. Kerr says, see ya, Don. See ya, Kerr. Kimberly says, did you go for a vape break? No, I didn't. Purgatory. Thank you, Strawberry, for all the preschool stars. That's 124. Thank you. Legendary. Yeah, thank you, Strawberry. Legendary says, I love Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Oh, cool. Perfect says, do you live with anyone? No comment. Bloodthirsty says, my favorite part of the stream is when you say 1 second, please. 1 second, please. I'm sorry. Thank you, Strawberry, for the 170 stars. Thank you. And good old boy for the high five. Megumi says, what's your favorite hobby? Video editing. Timeless says, I feel bad you have to respond to all these stupid and weird chats. I don't mind it. Wei says, do you ever think heaven and hell is fake and that it's just an endless void? Yes. Fishy says, shark. Alright. JJ says, welcome back to the stream. Okay. Fox says, it will take forever for you to be with the girlfriend. Okay. Thank you again to 92 Peaches for the flow state, and yeah, thank you. Kylan says, did you see Marvel's new Doomsday trailer? No, I didn't. Skydog says, hi, do you like rock and roll? I like rock. Chap says, everybody spam funky or you're very weird. I don't care. LB says, can't. Okay. Thank you, Zoe, for the flower. Jan says, does your hair curl or is it straight only? Well, what you're looking at is how it is naturally. Screaming says, kids game? You broke my heart, dog. It is. It's a kids game. It looks like Nickelodeon made it. John says, I am gooning inside of a plane. These idiots don't know I'm using Wi-Fi. Okay. Socks Fun World Super Chats. Why is the Uncle Alert stuck on my screen? It is? That's funny. I'm sorry. VB says hi. Hello, VB. Mr. Shiny says hi. Hello, Mr. Shiny. 2L says, do you remember me? No, I don't. It's Drax says, do you go to church? No. Cray says, do you like K-pop? No, I don't. Frey says, blah 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 swastika. Profile picture saying racial slur. What's that? Bloodthirsty says, I wasn't being facetious. I actually do like it when you say 1 second, please. Okay. That's weird. Thank you. Legendary says, snack break. I don't eat on stream. Certified says, Ray, you're gay. I don't know what you're saying. Levin says, why will you never look at me during sex? We don't have sex. Yamaha says, I wish you success and happiness. Thank you. The first captain says, the first captain donated $10. Thank you, the first captain. Timer, mouse click extended. Okay. I'm kind of disappointed, though, that you didn't say the first captain super chats $10. You said donated. I don't really use the word donated. And it's not a mouse click, it's a keyboard click, so. Sebastian says, have you ever ridden Arlanda Express? No, I haven't. Megumi says, what's your favorite movie? Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah. And I'm all the more disappointed with the first captain because your messages in the chat and Discord always have like perfect grammar and are well thought out, but that wasn't good. Certified says, are you gay? No. King says, are you from a foreign country? No. Thank you, Denicia, for the disco ball abomination. Sandeep says hi. Hello, Sandeep. Official says bananas. Alright. Vivo says, what music do you like? I like the music you're listening to now. Almost says, unfortunately, nothing. Okay. Certified says, are you cute? I don't know, man. Ian says hello. Hello, Ian. Rosie says, why do people keep asking if you're gay? Because it's it's a bold and interesting and kind of funny question. Catherine says, bless your heart, my love. Thank you. Kerr says, is my name pronounced Kerr or Curse? Well, now that I look at it, I guess it's Curse. Ian says, you're one of my favorite streamers. Thank you. Riza says, I'm hallucinating your stream right now. Okay. Thank you again, Denisa, for the disco ball abomination. Romero says, subscribe, guys. Or don't. Jan says, what's your favorite color and favorite animal? Gray. Durple says, this is my third account. Okay. 2L says, yes, you do. You just know if you say yes, I don't understand. Actually says, watch anime. I don't want to. Certified says, don't subscribe. Yeah, either one of those is okay. Blood says, okay, bye, Mr. Benitez. The third, aka the Dominator. See ya, Bloodthirsty. Jonathan says, hi. Hello, Jonathan. Perfect says, do you have any security cameras? Yes. John says, what's your favorite food? I like dried poop crust. Oh, that's disgusting. Water says, what's your favorite game? Minecraft. Sebastian says, have you ever been to Stockholm? No, I haven't. What country is that from again? That in again? Is it the Netherlands? HX says, what games you play? Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Adani says, are you religious? No. Megumi says, water break now. Remind me in 10 minutes. John says, Sweden. Okay. Stockholm, Sweden. Okay, yeah, that's right. There you go. Thank you. Jan says, what would you prefer more, Marvel or DC? I've watched more Marvel movies. Ezekiel says, you like men? No. Nirvan says, oh, I love Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Alright. Boba says, do you have any mental illnesses? No, I don't. C says, hi, hello C. Bully says, would you live overseas? No. Oni says, I got hit in the face and called a Nazi because I spoke German with my grandpa. Not a fake story. Okay. Sorry, I'm distracted by your profile picture. For the record, that's a AI image. I would never make that face. Lewis says, Jesus will come to you. Thank you. I hope better spelling comes to you. Bird says, what's your favorite bird? The great Potu bird. Wheat says, do you know what War of the Worlds is? A story. And also a movie. Nirvan says, why are you laughing? That's disrespectful as shit. Oh. Homeless mom. Drew says, why are you gay? I'm not gay. The Only says, you look like the type to want to be a ceiling fan decoration. Okay. Thank you again to Denissa for the disc ball abomination. Casual says, how long have you been streaming? For like 2 hours. LeBron says, have you ever tried nah? No, I haven't. Gorilla says, do you watch Avengers? No. Vivo says, what time is it for you? It's in the PM. Ale says, can you say my vagina pink? There you go. Nice profile picture. Hello says, are you an elephant? No. Oni says, I'm going to quit art school because you laughed at me. Don't do that. Don't give up. SS says, do you goon to femboy tongue to her? No comment. Thank you, David, for the GG. And thank you again to Esther for the turtle. 2L says, is my dog cute? Yeah. Weird eyes, though. GP says, what's your favorite movie? Eyes Wide Shut. Kale says, Star Wars. I don't like it. Thank you, Austin, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Adar says, you like any Minecraft mod? No. Jack says, hi, I like your stream. Keep posting. I will. Pool says, what's up, slippers? Okay. Jan says, you have pets? Yes. Jonathan says, can y'all stop being mean? No, it's okay. Riza says, your stream is like, really? Really? Is it? Scooby says, what's the square root of 45? Is it... I don't know what it is. I don't think it's an even number. Ellen says, would you rather own a dragon or be a dragon? Own a dragon. Froggy says, uwu. Okay. Queen says, how many hours a week do you spend on live? Probably like 8 hours. Mike says, you look like a trans Discord mod. Well, looks are deceiving. Goob says, do you like 6'7"? I am indifferent. Thank you, Denissa, for the disco ball abomination. TS says, one time in the middle of 5th grade, I was punched so hard in my stomach I thought I would pass out. It was so hard to breathe, but I didn't tell because I'm not a bitch. Okay. So, did you fight back, or did you just take it? Nirvan says, when was the last time you drank water? Half an hour ago. Thank you, Orbit, for the 5 artificial flowers. Girly says, pool of fire alarm. I'm not one of those streamers. Hunter says, Bugs Bunny or your mom's sister. No comment. In says, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? I don't know. And doesn't it depend on the kind of swallow? List says, what's 9 plus 10? 21. VO says, what time is it for you? It's in the PM. Goob says, do you like that lemon Yamal? I don't really care. Simon says, you love God? No. Shofa says, European or South African? I probably have more genetics when it comes to European. Thank you, Gihan, for the floating heart, and Fishing for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Nirvan says, swallows are birds. Yeah, I know. Hunter says, you love God? No. Archer says, people in your chat are weird as fuck. Yeah. And your profile picture is weird. Legendary says, why don't you love God? Because that assumes that I think there is a God. Thank you, John Smith, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Orbit says, hi. Rate my profile picture. I made the background, but the macaroni bits are made by my friend. They have a 3D effect. Have you played Sky Cottle? No, I haven't. And by the way, your profile picture is really cool. I like it. But I don't know. I mean, it kind of reminds me of a heartless corporation like Google or Microsoft. But it's pretty cool, though. Thank you, Rudy, for the press F. Fresh says, I hope you have a good rest of the year. Thank you. Fabian says, what is your opinion on brain rot? It's addicting. Rudy says, press F. Well, sent to press F. Thank you. Appreciate it. The first captain says, did you ever steal anything as a little kid? No. Thank you, Riza, for the preschool star. History says, sending love, just want you to know I was thinking about you. Thank you. Oni says, can you deactivate donations with no text? And the stream is laggy. Oh, that sucks. I'll have to figure that out. Girly says, slay baddie. Thank you. Cool says, how long do you stream? I stream, I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Lately, it's been like 2 hours and a half. Okay, I'm not distracted anymore. Okay, I'm back. And Archer says, and your and your mom is lesbian. Okay. TNT says, hi. Hello, TNT. Hey Dove says, do you read? Yes, I do. Sid says, what's that smell? You're not near me. TNT says, sorry, I'm distracted. My stream is laggy? Yeah, I'll have to investigate after the stream. What games do I play? I play Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Levin says, I saw you in a Pornhub video, going super slow and eventually hurting your peen. That's someone else. Derp says, if you want to answer, as a streamer, how much money do you make a month? Well, last month I made 3,000 something. Jacqueline says, nah, it's not laggy for me. Okay, thanks for the information. And hello, Jacqueline. Chicken says, it's not that laggy. Okay, nice to hear. Orange says, rate my profile picture. Also, I hit 100 subs. Your profile picture is bad. Sorry. Ramon says, you need to do the clap awake remedy. I think I'm fine. Thank you, Rudy, for the floating heart. I Love says, my personal favorite is Dango, a sweet champion's treat that always a World Cup winner. Is Dango a player? Cutely says, boo. Alright. JD says, you like Nirvana? Yes. Legendary says, can I DoorDash you something? No. Thank you, Y, for the Chuck E. Cheese coin, and Rudy for the feces. Thank you, Y, for the 5 of them, thanks. User says, are you depressed? No. Canada says, hope you have a good day, thank you. Hello says, are you doing okay mentally? Yes. Milton says, I saw you on Meatspin. That's someone else. Blaziken says, hi. Hello, Blaziken. Thank you, JAP, for the flow state. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oni says, I'm going to say something in German. Don blah 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 blah. I'm not saying that. My guess is that it says, Don licks my ass. Praz says, how are you? I'm fine. Someone says, do you like Michael Jackson? I do. By the way, is your name intentionally meant to be offensive? Thank you, Shadow, for the 6-7 abomination and for the high five. Ice says, do you swim? No. Blaziken says, do you remember me? I remember Phase Blaziken, but not you. 1 second, please. Deodorant says, what's up, bro? Hello, Deodorant. Thank you, Christian, for the 2 Disco Ball Abominations. 3 Disco Ball Abominations, thank you. I appreciate it. The Abomination. Jand says you have pets. I do. Bone says rate my profile picture. It's I like it. 4, 5. I am says I'm in your walls. No, you're not. Dr. Kai says remember what I said last time? No, I don't. Prophet says do you eat deodorant? No. JX says you play Roblox? No. Thank you, Nico, for the Unk alert. I'm not an Unk though. I view myself actually as that, as your profile picture. I view myself as a young person. Cutely says no, like I scared you. Okay. Thank you, Propane, for the flow state. Honey says bear or otter. Otters are cuter and less dangerous. Kareem says zesty. Okay. The better says what teeth do you have? Human teeth. Hello says do you remember me? No, I don't. Hello says are you the alpha? No. Jack says I saw your porn pics and I like them. Okay. Wheat says do you own a VR headset? No, I don't. Thank you again to Propane Scripts for the flow state. I wonder what you script. Official says what is your reasoning? I don't have reasoning. It's based on feeling. Thank you, Naomi, for the flow state. Kale says are you gay? No. Cream says I go to you, bro. What? Official? Already read that. Nirvan says thank you for the random gift abomination. Yeah, I do that. Shadow says happy to see you. Somewhat smiling, thank you. And thank you, Ariel, Iconic, and Rashida James for the flow states. Braylon says LeBron. Okay. Vivio says what's your type? It's shorter than me. History says what are your thoughts on Spinoza's God? I don't know Spinoza's God. Jammer says what is 5 plus 5? 10. Hello says do you have a racial slur? No comment. User super chats favorite color and food? Gray. Cheeseburger. Jason says hi. Hello, Jason. Levin says day 35 of asking Don to recreate I Show Meat. It's not day 35. Oni says Don, how many languages do you speak? I speak 8. I speak 7 less than you. The first captain says yes, I agree. Otters are better. Yeah. Hello says what's your favorite movie? Eyes Wide Shut. Thank you again, Rashida James and Ariel for the flow states. And Rashida for the good luck fortune cookie. Thank you. Did you guys know that fortune cookies came from San Francisco? Random fact. Teddy says, will you watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? No. Zethan says, what's your favorite animal? The chimpanzee. Toasty says, can you react to Pixel Drink? I don't react. Cowhorn says, muted. You're wrong. Kinetic says, water. Remind me in 5 minutes. Nirvan says, have you seen the Odyssey? Not yet. Thank you again, Rashida James, for the fortune cookie. Savis says, I love your stream so much. You're really cool. Thank you. Teddy says, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure will change your life, my guy. I don't know. That walking thing, like that angle of the muscly guy walking, that meme, that looks cringy. Fabian says, you need a better comment section. I'm fine with it. Thank you, Rashida James, for the Eagle, the American 250 Eagle. The first captain says, some things fly completely over Don's head, and I feel bad when I don't inform him. I'm sure of it, but I mean, as long as I don't accidentally say racial slurs, I'm cool. JD says I'm hungry. Okay. Caden says, are you nonchalant? I don't intend to be. By the way, the first captain, feel free to inform me. Like, in fact, I think I would appreciate it. Bella says, can you tell me what I should focus on for my new YouTube video? I don't know. That's your business. That's. Ramon says, did you know San Francisco is like the gay capital of the US? Yes, I did. Thank you, Kelp, for the flow state. JD says, is my profile picture cool? I don't like it. Red says, bigger something. Alright. Okay. Someone says, no, it's the first 3 letters of my name. I get it a lot. What's your name? If you don't mind telling. Lord says, should I play God of War Ragnarok? You should play God of War 1. JX says, happy 30k subs. Thank you. Pan says, what is your favorite character from a movie you watch? Bill Harford. Bingo says, are you sick? No. Saturn says, what is the best game on Steam? Well, I like the indie game Absolute Insanity. Drifter says, is my profile picture tough? No, it's terrible. Connor says, why aren't you religious? Because I haven't found a reason to be. Hello says, when you drop soap on the floor, is the floor clean or is the soap dirty? I don't know. I've been asked that 1,000 times, and I don't know. Sin says, there's someone there. I don't know what you're saying. Carnival says, Don, I'm back. Do you remember me? Yes. Thank you again, Kelp, for the flow state. And Lennon for the flow state. Lennon Rakozy. Micah says, rate my profile picture. 4. That's interesting. Sun says, I'm stalking it right now. It's so tight and soft and pink. I'm coming. Okay. GAP says, is water wet? Yes. Cursed says, what's your favorite build on Skyrim? I don't know anything about Skyrim other than you spawn in a wagon. Remy says, help. With what? Crew says, I'm high. Alright. Levin says, Don, stop the bullshit. Your favorite movie is a Serbian film because of the infant scene, not Eyes Wide Shut. No. I dislike a Serbian film based off what I've heard of it. Lennon, thank you for the Chuck E. Cheese coin. Kashi says, rate my profile picture. 1. Bryson says, how many times would I have to join your stream? It's not a science. Crew says, on weed? No, I'm not. I'm just forgetting to blink. Bacon says, how long have you been doing this for? For, 2 hours or so. 1 second, please. I'm doing something. 1 second, please. Okay, I'm finished now. Editor says, rate my profile picture. 4. JD says, rate, I'm high as fuck. Okay. Thank you again to Lennon and Kelp for the flow states. Official says, what's your favorite color? Gray. Prophet says, rate my profile picture. 1. Official says, have you ever smoked before? I keep that private, sorry. Star says, I suck dick. Okay. Liz says gold. Okay. This is random, but does anyone have any thoughts on living in San Francisco or New York City? Catherine says, you didn't pin anything tonight, Daddy Dom. I didn't, and I don't think I need to. When the timer's locked, I don't think I need to pin anything. GAP says iPhone or Samsung? iPhone. Kareem says Sunyan. Alright. Thank you, BJ and Lennon for the preschool stars. Thank you guys. Creeping says, does ice go in milk? No. Mr. Cool says, is my profile picture tough? Yeah, but not your old username. Matthew says, favorite superhero? Superman. Sloppy says, girth-wise, what we talking? I keep that private. Ricky says, is your head hurt? No. Joanne says, remember me? No, I don't. Catherine says, let's move in San Francisco tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Spunky says, San Francisco is needlessly overpriced. I mean, maybe, but walkable cities are kind of cool. Lennon says, thanks again. You're welcome. And also iconic cities. Like, Kareem says, what's that profile picture? It's me sitting where I am. Official says, New York City is way too chaotic for me personally. Okay, alright. Nirvan says, do we know who to raid in 20 minutes? No, I'm not sure yet. I'm figuring it out right now. There is this VTuber guy. Or, oh, maybe this guy. Darren says, fuck is not going well for you. Alright. Thank you, Wana, for the disco ball abomination. Thank you. I appreciate it. Clifford says, bro, are you tired? I feel bad. I'm not tired. Kerr says, VTuber? Probably not the VTuber. Let me see. Arf says, hi again. Hello, Arf. How's it going? Percy says, I felt bad for you. You've been doing this for too long. I'm fine, man. Liam says, what's your opinion on vinyl records versus streaming? I mean, it sucks that streaming pays bad for the musicians, but streaming is more convenient. Jay says, are you depressed? I am not depressed. The first captain says, I think Porma2 would say those locations have good sidewalks. Because they're big sidewalks? Okay. Alright. 1 second. I'm looking as to who to raid on stream. Let me think. Okay, I'm back. Victor says, drink some water. Not right now. Queenie says, Diddy Dom. Alright. Matthew says, San Francisco has a mid-bridge. Mid? How could you say that? Oni says, you missed a donation. I did. Sam the Alien super chats, who do you think you are? I'm a human named Don. I'm looking at your profile picture right now. I recognize it. It's a PlayStation profile picture. I spent a lot of hours on PlayStation. I spent a lot of hours seeing that guy. Thank you, Just a Guy, for the feces. And Soup for the Fortnite loot box thing. Thank you. I appreciate it. Soup with a black and white cat as his profile picture. Levin says, can you please pull up my first super chat? I think you skipped it. I don't think I did. The Poopy says, rate my profile picture. Oh, that's cool, Mario. I like it. Thank you, Nick, for the Uncle Alert. Nick. Thank you. YT says, what do you know about Jesus? He allegedly healed people. Spunky says, San Francisco is also overrated. Try La Jolla near San Diego. Very walkable. I don't know, but San Francisco has all this history, and I don't know, San Diego. Thank you, Hi for the Uncle Alerts, and Liam for the high five. Thank you, guys. Oh yeah says, do you still hate dicks? No, I don't. Queenie says, I eat toes. Alright. And thank you, Braylon, for this stupid little DJing cat. The first captain says, I wish I could be a pirate, ghost, vampire, merman, etc. But instead I ended up as a stupid human. Well, that's pretty quirky. Hi says, One Piece fan? No. Kareem says, Arabic. Alright. Zethan says, do you like my profile picture? I'm not going to answer that. Spunky says, move to Japan, then you twerp. Uh, no. I did hear though that San Diego has nice beaches. Thank you, D-Man, for the flow state. Thanks. 25 says, Donny Boy, why don't you raid me? Because I raid people that show their face on stream. Someone says iPhone or Samsung. iPhone. Sloppy says Goy Slop for the Goyim right here. Yeah. John says, unblock me on Jerkmate. You've got the wrong person, dude. 1 second, please. I am busy doing something. Okay, I'm back. Thank you, Nick, for the Uncle-ert. Thanks. And D-Man for the 6-7 abomination. And Braylon. Lucas says, are you gay? I am not gay. Oh, yeah. Says, why didn't you go to Streamer University? Because I'm intimidated. Zethan says, what's your favorite food? The cheeseburger. Fabian says, do you know Ozzy Osbourne? Yeah, that rocker that died recently. Angel says, should I eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Fruit Loops? You should eat Fruit Loops. D. Mitch says, 67 is my profile picture tough? No, it's not. 1 second, please. Okay, I'm back. Doreen says, do you like dick? Yes or no? I do not like dick. Levin says, when was your first? Mine was 12. My first time ejaculating? No comment. Thank you, Jack, for the stupid turtle drinking water. I was about to drink water, but I'm fine. Thank you, though, Jack. Kyril says, do you know Jordan Davis? No, I don't. Foxy says, how old are you? I'm an adult. The Dob says, are you annoyed? No. Anne says, have a pet? Yes, I do. I have dogs. Sarah says, do you love Samsung or iPhone? iPhone. Ardar says, do you think I'm you? Yeah. You're, you AI'd me into ISO speed. That's pretty cool. Bird says, balls. Okay. Fabian says, Wednesday, he will be dead for 1 year. What? Chimp says, what's wrong with you tonight? I think I'm average right now. Silence says, do you have any hobbies? I like video editing. John says, can you raid me? I'm live on live. Jasmine, look it up. No. Nirvan says, I like the background music. Baroque music is chill. Yeah. The last song that played, yeah, I like it too. Ol says, I'm gay. Okay. Symphony says, please shout out. I don't do shout outs. Leo says, how do you describe the Holy Spirit finding you? I don't know. I think it's something that you have to feel. Spunky says, San Diego has big booty Latinas to know how much you like those. I don't know what you're saying. But again, I just think San Francisco has those Victorian houses. I like those a lot. They're everywhere. I love that aspect. Jason says, can you buy me a PC? No. Vio says, when's your next stream? Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. Chloe says, hi, hello, Chloe. Devil says, will you ever do content soon? Maybe, I'm thinking about it. El Meow says, do you like Trump? No comment. Jalix says, I think you need a break. Well, I guess if that's true, it's a good thing that I'm stopping in 12 minutes. Toad says, who shit my pants? I don't know. Queenie says, I'm a toe-eating goblin. Alright. Danica says, can you change your background, please? No, I like it. Nas says, I stuck my penis in my dog's mouth. Oh, that's disgusting. Brendan says, hi. Hello, Brendan. Techie says, moo. Alright. All Meow says, Trump sucks. Okay. Thank you, Nick, for the clutch. And thank you again to, D-Man for the flow state you sent earlier. I appreciate it. User says, please rate my profile picture. Oh, Michael Jackson. That's nice. Queenie says, holy shit. Okay. Lindsay says, yo, hello, Lindsay. Nirvan says, I just noticed. I have no idea what parasocial means. It means like a fake friendship with an influencer. So You can search up the definition if you want to. Spunky says, those Victorian houses are super cool. San Francisco has a lot of nice things and history. Your rent / mortgage will reflect that as well. And I'm okay with that. I want to live somewhere special. Kerr says, shall I change my profile picture? Yes. Levin says, why do you keep your first gone private? I'm open about it. We're not the same. I don't like talking about personal sexual things. Traylon says, hi, hello Traylon. Rom says, I love you, bro. I want to send $1,000. Thank you. I'm Super says, do you like hockey? No, I don't. Pacific says, 30k subs. Yeah, okay. Mel says, why is people saying practically there? I don't know what you're saying. 48 says, hey Don, you're my favorite YouTuber. Thank you. Bean says, hi. Hello, Bean. Yusuf says, I creamed to you. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Waffle says, who are we rating? We are going to be rating a man with a beard. LeBron says, hey man. Hello, LeBron. Mojo says, say fuck. There you go. Milk says, I'm going on the beach with the boys tomorrow night, and then we will have dinner and beer. Okay. Girly says, bro, you slay. Thank you. By the way, in 10 minutes, we are going to be rating a streamer. We are going to go surprise a small streamer. Watt says, do you like little kids? No, I don't. Doctor says, how do you make the chat pop up like that? It's in the description. That one guy super chats, feet cheese is the best cheese. No, it's not. That's disgusting. That's not meant to be eaten. It's gross. I wouldn't eat that. Thank you, Dominic DiNardo, for the whatever this is. Thank you, Dominic. Eclipse says, I'm gay and I have a body pillow. That's cool. That's kind of weird, but that's okay. Liz says, before the stream ends, have a wonderful rest of your evening, Don. You too, Liz. The Ultimate says, remember me from 40 minutes ago? Yes. Dominic DiNardo super chats, LeBron back to Cleveland. Okay. He's from Cleveland? I didn't know that. Anthony says, are you wearing pants? Yes. Julian says, touching you. No, you're not. Queenie says, I have a body pillow of you. No way you do. N says, if you could live in a video game, which one would it be? Mine is RDR2. You wouldn't want that. You're lying, because that would be dangerous. You'd have a high odds of dying. It's the 1800s. Sickness. Mojo says, I love you. Thank you. John says, I'm watching from Cleveland. Alright. Levin says, gay emoji. This emoji reminds me of you. I don't know why. I think you're trying to call me gay. Goat says, what belt did you get to in karate, Don? I never did karate. Thank you again, Dominic, for the super chat. LeBron back to Cleveland. I didn't know he was from Cleveland, or ever lived there. Spunky says, move to Mars and import a Victorian house, you nerd. It's older than Earth, means more history. I care about human history. Kerr says, what shall I change it to then? Dude, I don't know. Figure it out. Be creative. Joseph says, can I have $1 million now? Milkman says, I have a feeling this will happen in a few years' time, and I'm sure it will be the same for the next few months. I don't know what you're talking about. Guess says, hey, are you okay, man? Yes. Caleb says, whether you believe in Jesus or not, he loves you. Thank you. Jonathan says, answer me now. What's your question? 1 second, please. I need water. I'm very thirsty. Thank you for your patience. Joseph says, can I have at least $10 now? CMR says, what? Ramon says, bro, open up the timer. No. Maybe in the future I'll go back to 3 hours, maybe 5 hours, but right now, just 2-hour streams. Chimp says, can you stare directly into the camera? You're masturbating? I'm not going to help with that. Thank you again, Dominic, for the gift, and Jack for that gift. Jojo says, is this fun? Yes. Mick says, what do you think of drugs and sobriety? I'm pro-sober. Kiki super chats, LeBron back to Cleveland. He is? Okay, alright. I guess he is. You just copied this guy's super chat? That's unusual. Oni says, no donation. What? AJ says, Mr. Miyagi had a leather belt. JC Penny $5.99. Alright. Rio says, hey Don, have you watched The Walking Dead? I've seen 9 seasons. Big Stump, thank you for the laughing disco, Big Stump. Big Stump. Big Stump is the goat. Okay. Olivia says, I remember you said hi to me. Okay. Queenie says, do you eat weed? I do not. ZZ super chats $1 American. Thank you, ZZ. Gian says, rate my profile picture. I don't like it. Potassium says, if all the human knowledge could fit into one brain, what would happen? Then that person would probably become corrupt with power and rule over the world. Thank you, Big Stump. Well, actually, yeah, Big Stump for the turtle drinking water. I'll do that myself. 1 second, please. Jonathan says, should I get high on weed? Yes. Thank you, Owen, for the high five. Game says, what is your favorite soda? Coke. Absolute says, rate my profile picture. 3. I prefer the original meme. Miranda says, bros. The definitely... I don't know what you're saying. Levin says, do you remember me? Yeah, I do. Mr. says 67. Okay. Thank you again, Owen, for the high five, and Big Stump for the gifts. Yuki says, do you love gay people? Yes. Kyra says, remember me, baby? I love making gay jokes. No, I don't remember you. Miguel says, do you like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 from 2009? I haven't played it, but I heard it was great. Kerr says, is this better, Don? Yes. Very cute cat. John says, rip my new profile picture. I like that one. That's pretty funny. Oh, that's cool. That's what I'm looking at right now. My skin tone changed. That's interesting. Thank you, front seat, for the turtle drinking water. I'll drink some more. Thank you. Rizzo says, what's your favorite thing to do? I really like raiding, which we'll do in 3 minutes. We're going to be raiding a streamer. Ravani says, Elden Ring or Minecraft? Minecraft. Tristan says, drink water. I just did. Weston says, Jesus loves you. Thank you. Thank you, dude. Gionic says, where are you from? I am from the United States. La says, Shakira. Okay. Captain says, hope you're doing well. I am doing well. I'm actually going to add another 2 minutes to the timer. 1 second, please. Okay, there we go. Again, we are going to be raiding a streamer in 3 minutes. Doctor says, I love you, Donnie. Thank you, Doctor. Nick says, how old are you? I am an adult. Rancid says, keep your mouth open, please. No. Men says, hi. Hello, men. Levin says, it's kind of crazy to think that someone in chat has cracked. Okay. Captain Super Chats, hope you are doing well. I am doing well. Did I already read this? Anyways, though, thank you for you wishing me well. Colton says 67. Can you 667? No, I don't like doing meme gestures. 1 second, please. I'm doing something. Again, we are going to be raiding a streamer. In other words, we're going to go surprise a small streamer and make their day. So stay tuned for that when the timer ends. Kerr says, that was the best profile picture mankind ever saw. Okay. Raven says, do you hate 67? I don't hate it, but I mean, it's kind of overdone, I think. 1 second, please. 1 second, please. I'm preparing the raid for when the... Okay. Rio says, what's your favorite food? The cheeseburger. X Venture says, yo, how's your day been? It's been good. Invalid says, smoking emoji. That's pretty cool. Joseph says, what are your thoughts on whatnot? I think it's the future. Jetta says, how big Batista's dick? I don't know. Orange says, did you shit yourself again? No. Aheel says, why? Why what? Mr. 1 says 67. Okay. Jin says, what's the idea behind your channel? I mean, pretty simple. I don't know why you need an explanation. Chase says, when's the last time you showered? A few hours ago. Minecraft says, can you please say happy birthday? No. The first captain says, will you be awake in 12 hours? Probably. Yeah. Ray says, can I wood chop? No. Tyler says, we raiding tonight? Yes, we are. In a minute and a half. Rancid says, do a shower stream, bro. No, that's weird. Isma says, fix Mojang Bedrock. I agree. Call me says, where do you raid? When the stream ends, there'll be a button at the bottom of the screen. Click that to join the raid. Official says, rate my profile picture. Terrible. Weston says, I love your background. Thank you. Goat says, 60 seconds. Let's fucking go. Yeah. Raid in 60 seconds. By the way, when we do the raid, be respectful, don't spam, and say original stuff. Ask questions. Don't just say raid. Say interact. Slop says, you play BF2? No, I don't. Twi says, what emotion are you feeling right now? I'm excited for the raid. Devil says, what do you want to say to the people that have depression? Hang out with your friends more. Minecraft says, wow, how rude, dude. Sorry, I don't like people baiting me into saying my happy birthday. I think it's weird. Mercury says, you like my profile picture? No, I don't. No Cat says, rate my profile picture. Cute cat. Elijah says, everybody say interact. Or don't. Raveny says, by the way, Elden Ring is the best. It might be. Gabi says, do you like femboys? Not in particular. Simply says, don't end stream without saying water. There you go. Water. I guess I was safe anyways. Water says, are you good, man? I am good. Sock Super Chats, I don't know why it has to be at the end of the string, but you suddenly handle way better attitude. Well, I try to be more entertaining as to get more viewers to do the raid with. Alright guys, we're going to raid a streamer in just a second. We're going to make a small streamer's day. In just a second, there's going to be a button at the bottom of the screen. Click that button to join the raid. If you don't see the button, go to my channel and click posts. I'll make a post. In fact, I just posted it. Okay, click the button there. I'll see you guys in the raid. See you there.